604, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane off and running right now. Brian here with you, John LaBeouf producing. We are starting off your Wednesday morning at 72 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. Not punch you in the chest weather yet, but we're definitely on our way. We've got a busy show for you this morning. I mean, super busy. Tag teaming. Legally served today, we'll have Franz Borghardt and Richard Sprinkle in the house. We've got Paul Sawyer from the Amy River Basin Commission in the 7 o'clock hour. We've got Lana Venable from Louisiana Lawsuit Abuse Watch. A lot to talk about there. Super busy day in Judicial Committee A yesterday over on the Senate side. A lot moved forward. We'll break it all down. 8 o'clock hour, Jay Robicheaux is going to talk insurance at 8:05. Henry Hayes is going to talk AI at 8:15, and then Rory Denicola coming in from Exxon along with Donna Collins-Lewis to round out the show. Busy show. Let's get right to it. Top stories and trending.
Number 5.
Follow up on that shooting we reported on yesterday that was on North 11th Street. There were very few details yesterday. We have a lot more now. BRPD is saying that shooting on Monday night was ruled to be a suicide. No one else was injured. No arrests were made. In fact, no other information about the victim was given out either.
Number 4.
Drago's Seafood Restaurant is coming back to Baton Rouge with a new location. Going to be in Perkins Rose Town Square. They're going to be in the old Kona Grill location. Loft 18 is prepping to open where Drago's was off of Constitution.
Number 3.
A long-awaited master plan to tackle flooding along the Amy River is finally in motion. That plan covers 7 different parishes along the Amy River. It was approved yesterday in Livingston by the Amy River Basin Commission. Paul Sawyer heads up that commission. Like I said, he's going to join us at 7:15.
Number 2.
Metro Council is set to consider Mayor Sid Edwards' Thrive Baton Rouge funding plan at their meeting tonight, a little over 2 months since the plan was first announced. It's going to be split into 4 different items on the Metro Council's agenda. Each item will be subject to a public hearing and vote. If approved by the council, the items will appear before voters on the November 15th ballot.
Number 1.
8 people are accused of starting a riot and injuring a child after a fight broke out in a 19th JDC courtroom Tuesday morning. East Baton Rouge, this according to East Baton Rouge Parish deputies, and the massive video of the fight.
I keeps it real.
The fight broke out about 10:15 in Judge Fred Crafasi's courtroom after family members got into an argument in the hallway. The argument later turned into a physical altercation. Courtroom deputies and nearby BRPD officers had to intervene.
I lost money on this one. I thought it was the family court floor, the 4th floor, which is where stuff goes down.
Yeah.
But I keeps it real, Brian Haldane. Can't wait to talk about this.
This is going to be one of the topics we talk about with Franz and Richard coming up in about 15 minutes. What's trending, John?
Well, Eric and Lau Menendez have a new shot at freedom after 35 years behind bars for murdering their parents, thanks to a recent ruling by a judge.
This is one of the other things we'll be talking about.
Opportunity for parole.
Yes. I like the attorney says that this is going to be such a motivator for other prisoners to be model prisoners so that they can get out early, because all the other prisoners are constantly reading the news.
These 2 guys have a cult following of people, of fans, of groupies that weren't even alive when this stuff went down. It is
right?
crazy.
The number of criminals who have cult followings.
And criminal defense attorneys.
Yeah.
Franz Borghardt.
Hey, big announcement from President Trump Tuesday was that sanctions against Syria would be lifted, and what he said was a move to normalize the relations and give, quote, them a chance at greatness.
Now he's headed to Qatar to go get himself a plane, which, all right. It's happening, so we talk about it. That's about it.
Yes, indeed. You know what else we talk about? Pete Rose and Shoeless Joe Jackson were reinstated by Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred on Tuesday, making both eligible for the Hall of Fame.
Long overdue. Now, I don't know so much about Shoeless Joe Jackson. The Chicago Black Sox rigged the World Series.
Right.
Pete Rose bet on baseball, but I don't know that he ever affected the outcome of a game with those bets. We know that he bet on
Yeah.
baseball.
Yeah.
But did that affect the outcome of a game? I'm kind of torn between the two, but you can't be torn between the two without feeling like a hypocrite, because it's like, why is it good for one but not the other? But I mean, it kind of.
What's good? They're taking another look at it, right? They're taking another look and saying, you know what?
Well, more than that, they've opened it
we're-
back up. They're Hall of Fame
So
eligible now.
Yep, exactly. So, hey, who knows? You know.
That is a look at what's trending. We're going to take a break in just a minute. When we come back from that break, we'll have sports for you. Oh, before we take that break, though, got to remind you about the folks over at the Baton Rouge Metro Airport. FlyBTR.com is the website. Get all your information at FlyBTR.com. And when you're mapping out your travel, whether you're talking about business travel, whether you're talking about personal travel, take into account the entire experience. Take into account the amount of time it takes down to drive down to New Orleans and drive back. How much harder it is to bum a ride from somebody down there. And if you don't bum a ride, now you got to pay for parking, which is another hassle. Then on top of that, as much as they've done down in New Orleans to help streamline things, TSA down there versus TSA up here is no comparison. It's such a smoother process at our own airport. FlyBTR.com. Coming up 1 hour and 5 minutes from right now will be Wheels Up. I say we like I'm on the flight, like I'm the co-pilot. Coming up an hour and 5 minutes from right now, they'll be Wheels Up, headed to Washington, D.C. It is a daily flight. It is round trip, flying to Reagan National, get your business done same day, fly back home this evening. It all starts with flybtr.com. Got a lot of ground to cover in sports. We'll talk a little NBA. LSU versus Clemson has a start time. That'll be next.
My favorite part of the story about the brawl was
Yeah.
they were talking about like what was in the hallway, like shoe,
Hair.
Just,
Getting weave knocked out, man.
Oh.
Be like that sometimes.
the sad thing is the brawl itself is like misdemeanor behavior, but they have to make an example of these people. You cannot have that this is not like storm the Capitol. You cannot have that behavior in a court of law. And so they're going to be made an example of.
This isn't
What do you mean these people?
What do you mean you people? People that brawl in courthouses?
That's right.
Did they all have something in common?
They were in a courthouse?
Something else in common?
Oh, Lord. I need some more Haspel in my life.
Everyone does.
Yeah. Brian and I are going to do a walk-off, like in Zoolander.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Get all dressed up and just do runway.
Dude, let's do it.
I think Brian would win.
I want to film.
I don't. Come on. 614 to Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. About to roll over to 615 here, which means it is time for sports. And let's go ahead and start with LSU football. We have a start time for the LSU Clemson game coming up dadgummit, at the end of August. August 30th, of course, is the game day. It will be a primetime game, a 6:30 p.m. Central kickoff. This is at Clemson, so fake Death Valley. But LSU at Clemson will kick off for 6:30, which, if I'm not mistaken, August 30th is a Saturday, right? Checking, scrolling through phone, July, August. Yeah, August 30th is a Saturday. So we're actually going to have a Saturday night kickoff for the opening of the season. Normally with that, Labor Day weekend and whatnot, it moves around a good bit. We've been the only game on a Sunday in the past. So, traditional time slot here for LSU to kick things off against Clemson. By the way, it will be broadcast on our news partners over at WBRZ. Of course, they are the local ABC affiliate, so that tracks. LSU begins their 2024 season at Clemson on WBRZ. Moving over to the NBA, I found this curious. Adam Silver, NBA commissioner, sat down with, who was it? It was Sirius XM's NBA radio, and had a really in-depth interview between the folks at Sirius XM and Commissioner Snoke. A number of things were talked about. Fixing the All-Star game was in that mix. Changing up the way the schedule is handled was in that mix. But also in there was Adam Silver talking about NBA possibly expanding.
I think at this point, we have a NBA board meeting in July in Las Vegas, and my sense is it will be on the agenda to discuss with full ownership now for the 30 teams to get directly the existing owners' views on potential expansion and how we would begin furthering the study of all the implications. And I've said before, there's an impact on dilution of talent. There's, of course, an economic impact in that presumably if we were to expand, let's say, an even number of teams, 2 teams, it means there's then a division of our media deals by 2 additional partners, et cetera. I mean, that's just math. That's something we have to look at as well. And then get a sense of the level of interest from certain markets. And look, I know there's tremendous interest in Seattle. I know there's tremendous interest in Las Vegas and several other cities as well that whether I've read about the interest or, heard indirectly from others, just to be clear, we haven't begun any sort of process. So even to the extent cities have reached out, we've said, thank you for your interest, but we're not ready to take meetings yet and have more in-depth discussions. But we will have that opportunity early this summer again to talk to all the different ownership groups in the NBA and get a sense. And I'll lastly say, expansion, I think over time makes sense. As to precise timing, I think we still need to work on that.
Vegas would be an obvious choice to me, at least. And it's really amazing that after so long of sports being kind of kept out of Vegas because of the gambling, now that the gambling is so mainstream and so above board, it's like, let's pump a franchise for every sport in there. Whether you're talking about the Raiders, whether you're talking about the Golden Knights, whether you're talking about A's are headed, now the possibility of an NBA franchise as well. It's crazy to see Vegas make that kind of turn, and attitudes towards gambling now that it's all, now that it's legal in a lot of places, and it's not, some guy who's going to break your thumbs if you can't make your payments. Like, it's, you walk into a sports book or you do it over your app. It's all above board now. I think that change, not just in our mentality, but in the way business is handled, has changed things dramatically. Another follow-up question there I would have had for Commissioner Silver would have been, is population going to drive demand? Is population going to drive a decision, or is current demand going to drive a decision? Because the NBA, while more popular now than it was, I don't know, maybe a decade ago, it's still not anywhere near the NFL. So it's going to be hard to gauge who wants what based off of what's already out there. Before we hit your money now, real quick, got a shark alligator story for you. John, have you ever heard of Morris the alligator?
No.
Morris the alligator passed away. You know whom? He is Morris the alligator. Was famous for his villainous role in Adam Sandler's Happy Gilmore.
Oh,
Morris died of old age. Here comes the Fox Business Report.
he took Chubb's hand though.
What?
So he deserved it.
Yes.
Took Chubb's hand, man. Yeah, but that's funny.
I swear Franz said last week that he wasn't going to be here this week. I swear it. It's going to be a better segment. But
Yeah.
Because I got both of them.
Yeah. Just a little unexpected. No problem.
Oh, where's where it pops off, baby? Well, let's start with that. Appreciate you coming in.
Hey man, no worries.
That's so you're gonna be right here on 3. I'm gonna move over to 2. And dude, I'm just gonna step aside as much as possible.
Were you in the courthouse?
No.
Thank goodness. Mark's. I saw your Mark safe.
Yeah.
I was worried. You start playing the game of where's Richard?
Listen,
Where's my baby mama?
It's usually not a full contact job. What can I say, man?
I have been in the courthouse before when stuff has gone down, but never a
Yeah.
brawl. I've been in the courthouse when people have attacked attorneys.
So I've known of public defenders who have punched their clients. I've
Can you
known.
get LL Cool
So-
J's mama said not
So
to-
normally it's the other way around, though. Normally
Say
it's
say less.
clients that want to punch public defenders. Oh. Did the PD get a simple battery for
Bad
that one?
facts.
Did they get a simple battery for that one?
No,
You brought it up.
I don't know. You have to talk to Kat and Jacob on that
Was it
case.
Kat or Jacob?
No,
I could see Jacob.
no. We
I
were
could see
we were
Kat-
contacted.
I could
by-
see Kat keeping it real.
these days. All Kat's trying to keep real is her pregnancy. She's
Yeah.
just ready to have that
Dude,
child.
like
Ready.
the best in the video, because I sent Brian the video. Did you see the
I
video?
haven't seen the video.
It's on Tommy D'Amico's in the video. And he
No
kind of like
kidding.
stands off to the side. The attorney like stands
Oh,
off
I
to
gotta
the
see
side.
this. I gotta see this.
Y'all do you. Y'all do you. I told Brian they're gonna make an example of those people.
Oh, you better believe.
Anybody that was in that brawl is going to be made an example of. You cannot have that happen.
Somebody's gonna have some civil liability too for the little kid that got knocked over.
Oh, the kid got knocked over.
Yeah, the kid got knocked over and bumped his head.
They got sued the court.
I'm just saying. No. Well, it could
No
be,
doubt.
Could be a premise liability.
Well, failure to secure.
Yeah.
Although I counted several deputies in the video.
Huh? No.
You remember Ella?
All right, let's head on back to the Shawbills Tire Traffic Center. Not a whole lot going on. You get your normal congestion on I-12 westbound coming in from Denham Springs. I say congestion, I mean volume. I do that all the time. Coming across the Amite River Bridge, you're going to find a lot of neighbors on the road out there. Once you get past the Amite River Bridge, it clears up a good bit. 10 westbound's looking good. 10 eastbound's looking good. I-110's looking good. Surface streets. There's an accident a stalled vehicle reported Taylor Street at Duncan Drive. I have no idea where that is, so that's saying something. And from about an hour ago, there was blockage on Kenilworth near Perkins, but like I said, that was more than an hour ago, so it's probably in the clearing stages, if not gone by now. That's really good traffic from the Shawbills Tire Traffic Center. So low. $624. Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. You hear the music, you know, the fights are going down. And they're going down not just with LL Cool J, they're going down in the 19th JDC Courthouse. It's time for Legally Served.
I'm all about it. He'll be on board with it.
Telling you what. Oh, I'm sure.
I basically just get to sit back today because I thought Franz was out of town.
Well,
So I called you. Yeah, you told me you were going to be out.
So there was a universe where I was leaving for a continuing legal education this morning. I'm leaving tomorrow.
Okay.
But I'm excited because I always relish an opportunity to hang out with Richard Sprinkle.
Mhm.
Oh,
You know, we like to do podcasts, radio shows every once in a while.
Yeah, it needs to come back.
Oh my gosh.
does it need to come back?
It does need to come
I
back.
think-
So let me.
Can we make that happen?
Let's still be radio here. There's a whole audience that didn't subscribe. Smash the like
get to
button.
That's
that
on
later.
them. That's on them.
All right.
Attorney Franz Borghardt, Attorney Richard Sprinkler, both in the house. There's no way we don't start with the brawl.
So it went down yesterday
it's
in Baton
popping
Rouge.
off.
In the 19th Judicial District Courthouse, there was a court proceeding on a murder case. Two feuding families like Hatfields and McCoys, right? I'm not going to go into the specifics.
I guarantee you those weren't the last names.
Oh.
I'm just saying that's like a legendary story.
So, long story made short, somebody kept it real at the 19th JDC. Huge brawl.
Yeah.
Huge. Multiple sheriff deputy. We got hair flying. We got shoes flying. A kid fell, hit his head.
Yep.
Oh. Okay, so
it was
I've been doing this for almost 20 years. You've been doing this for how long?
Going on 8-9 years.
Yeah.
Now? Yeah.
Like, does stuff happen in courthouses normally?
Every now and then.
Occasionally,
Very
Brian
rarely,
Haldane.
very rarely.
But a brawl?
Oh,
And by the way, it wasn't on the family court floor.
it has been now deemed a riot. Let's be honest. It is.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like people attacking each other, people attacking deputies. Okay.
I
so
would
the
have bet
court-
solid.
So
money
as,
on that.
as a framework, the courthouse is secured by the East Baton Rouge Parish Sheriff's
Yep.
deputies.
Yep.
So there's deputies on the ground floor. There's deputies on each floor.
They're
And they seem to focus the deputies on the floors where there's going to be the most need
right.
for security.
Right.
The fourth floor, the family court floor.
I would assume family court things can get nasty because things can get emotional.
So believe it or not, there's generally so every day we have criminal court in the 19th.
Mhm.
Every day. We don't have a lot of issues with security in the criminal courts because most people who are showing up to court don't want to go back to jail.
Right.
So they handle their business and they leave.
Mm-hmm.
But when you've got a whole family affair going on,
Oh,
with two
Lord.
and I tell you talk about how this was an all-out riot, and I saw some of the video footage that I saw.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. By the way,
You're welcome.
a woman performs what in football you would call a rip move.
Yep.
Like a defensive end to get around the sheriff's office. I guess it's a deputy right there. Rips past the deputy, and then in the same move, kicks a woman in the head. The woman was on the floor
As
wearing all
she's
orange.
spinning away,
Yeah.
right? I saw the video redubbed with Street Fighter,
Kick,
the
spin.
video game
No.
soundbite.
Oh,
You
yeah.
gotta send me that.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Please send that over.
Yes.
We'll post that at Talks page as well.
You're welcome.
Yes.
The it was. I mean, riot aside, it was an impressive move. It was a Sports Center highlight. It was a Sports Center highlight to be sure.
Oh man.
She had good form. She had good leverage. Low base.
Wow.
So here's the question. Normally, this kind of behavior would be like misdemeanor. Street fighting, that's misdemeanor
Yeah.
behavior, unless somebody really gets hurt. Do you make it into an obstruction of justice? Do you charge them with felonies?
Yes.
You certainly have to,
can,
and I know
yeah.
we have to come to a break soon, but you certainly have to make an example of all
Absolutely.
the players in this, because you cannot have this was not the exercising of free speech. This was not protesting.
Okay, so wait. What do we know about the families? Were they the families of a victim and a potential party in the shooting?
You have victims' families, defendants' families.
Aha.
I'm not gonna.
The great Karnak figured that out.
I am not
Yep.
a journalist. I have bits and pieces, and I don't feel comfortable going into the ultimate criminal allegations.
Right.
I will say, victim's family, defendant's family, keeping it real in the 19 JDC.
That's right.
The possibility of what's to come, charges wise, the possibility of what's to come. Will we see repercussions for the court as well?
So Oh, that's a big conversation.
I'm setting a tease here.
Yeah,
We're going to
yeah.
have this conversation
Civil
when we
and
come back
criminal.
from the break.
Civil and criminal.
We're going to have this conversation when we come back from the break. Before we hit the break, got to remind you about the folks at LandmarkBankLA.com. LandmarkBankLA.com. You know where to find Landmark Bank. You're going to find them in the surrounding areas around Baton Rouge. They started in 1897 as a community bank and have remained true to that mission all the way through today, and will remain true to that mission for their foreseeable future. The reason for that is they believe in relationships. They believe in doing business with, someone you're face to face with, not some random number who's over the computer. Whether it comes to your personal banking or business banking, they've got you covered. Checking, savings, borrowing, investing, they've got it all at landmarkbankla.com, landmarkbankla.com. Here's news.
People that get into a brawl in a courthouse, those aren't probably the kind of people that would sue the courthouse for the brawl and the fighting. They would never do that.
Well, lucky for them, we did get rid of the aggressor doctrine back in 2003. So.
Well, that's why I brought up. This wasn't a protest or a political. This was keeping it real.
Just keeping it real, man.
Get your weave out my face.
That's right. Or I'm going to leave it on the floor of the courthouse.
Weaves,
and they did.
tennis shoes.
Weaves, tennis shoes, earrings.
Oh, man.
WAF. That's at the end of WFB's article. I was like, oh, my God. Just dying laughing.
So, Brian, victims have a statutory right to be present in court.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Have they forfeited that right? By creating this, and I don't know, guys. I don't know who started it.
Well, now that raises a good question. Does the victim's statutory right to be present in court override the judge's absolute right to control their courtroom?
So generally, a defense to constitutional wide berth. No. But generally, public safety is a defense to restrictive behavior in constitutional or statutory framework.
Right.
So, like public safety.
Exactly.
Everybody else and look, how long did it derail everything? We're talking about a few minutes. Man, I did in that video.
Not even being there, it had to be.
Gets the kick in as she's spinning away from the deputy.
Look, I'm guessing it had to be at least a 20 to 30 minute shutdown of that court. And for those that don't know, a lot can happen in 30 minutes in criminal court, right?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah,
I mean, they can roll through some stuff in 30 minutes in criminal court. So that was a big derailment of the court's business. For them.
I'd like to tell you that I would just stand off to the side and just let nature take its course. But if I get attacked by a client,
I'm gonna have to throw something.
I'm
gonna have to throw something. That's all
I don't want to get hit, period.
Y'all's taxpayer dollars that trained me in the Marines can't go to waste.
You're a killer. You're a killer. You're a stone cold killer, Richard Sprinkle.
I don't know about all that, but I just can't stand.
For those who don't know, on Facebook, we used to do a radio show podcast called Legally
Unfiltered.
And Brian, for you, we've actually flirted. We've gone on a few dates to get this thing back going. Generally, Richard's a powerful, high-priced attorney, and he's very unobtainable, very busy, and so it's difficult to get things going. But
it is difficult. Time is always a crunch. But it looks like
you may could have some more spare time if there's more brawls in the courthouse.
Oh my gosh! I know.
Did you see on social media? It was, I think you did too. Mark Safe,
Mark Safe, in the brawl at the 19th JDC. Absolutely.
Could you imagine something like that happening in Guarantee Broadcasting?
Hey, John, you put Josh and Jace in the 7 o'clock trending. Thank you.
Like Guarantee Broadcasting having a brawl.
Hey man, it could happen.
Richard Condit having a brawl.
Look, the name came to mind, but I wasn't going to say anything.
ESPN guys are soft. They're not having a fight.
Oh, I need to go see T-Bob about the thing. Yeah. How long do I have here?
You want us to just carry this?
No, because I won't know where it left off when I get back.
Okay.
Y'all are gonna carry it. I just need to be here for it. Okay, I can wait.
Not a show sponsor, but I had a question. Have you tried the new YMCA?
Every day.
Is on the new one on Florida?
Yeah, I'm there. I'm there 4 days a week.
I haven't been watching the posting. I've been trying to, believe it or not, I've been trying to scale back my social media. But we need to talk because that is actually the closest YMCA, if I'm not mistaken, to my house.
It is.
And I'm kind of like, I used to be on that board. The one on South Foster used to be on their YMCA board.
Cool. I'm learning more and more there's nothing in my neighborhood. The disadvantage of living way down Nicholson is there's
LaBerge?
nothing down there.
LaBerge.
Come on, dude. How
You
much
and your
time can
girl,
spend
you and
at
your girl
LaBerge?
love LaBerge.
We
Come
did.
on.
We did go there for Mother's Day. We did. They
That's
had a
where I
great-
would go for Mother's
not a
Day.
sponsor, I know, but who are they? I don't know.
Overall, they've advertised on the stations,
Okay.
but not really with me.
I'm trying to make a concerted effort not to insult Brian's sponsors on the
I know,
show,
man.
inadvertently or overtly. By the way,
Well, you
by
can
the
say
way,
something positive about
by the
anybody
way,
out there.
speaking of which, I want to grab a lunch soon. P.F. Chang's. He's got me thinking about P.F. Chang's.
I can do that.
Do the black pepper chicken.
I feel like it. You know what? And it's also a place. I've said this before. It's also a place I can bring my 9-year-old.
Yeah.
Because it's not like the problem with some Asian places is the food could be too far out there, spice wise, flavor wise. That like a little kid's not going to want that.
PF Chang's is good for everybody.
Sauce. You make your own sauce.
I'm just watching carbs.
You look fantastic. You've lost some weight.
Yeah, a little bit. Not a ton, but a little bit. Oddly enough, the best shape I've been in many, many years.
Did you
was when
see-
I was recuperating from those damn.
Did you
hip
see my
surgeries.
post? Did you see my post about the Baton Rouge Bar magazine cover with the wedding cake? It was the Baton Rouge Bar did
I
did
saw
an
it.
issue on divorce, and it's a wedding cake that's like split in half with like the figures like jammed in. I'm like, is there a divorce cake? I was like, I don't remember a divorce cake. I like cake.
That's
I
it.
would have taken a divorce cake.
Did I tell you my idea for a new ad? Like, want to lose about 150 to 200 useless
divorced.
pounds? Call me up.
Brian's been happily married for how many decades?
Got married in 2001.
Good.
So 24 years.
Same year as us.
I actually sat in front of the Haldanes.
We got married that December, so it was right after 9/11.
The most white-knuckled honeymoon flight ever.
Oh,
we
I
got,
can
we got
imagine.
married 11 days after 9/11.
Oh,
surprised you got a
Flights just opened back up 3 days prior. The warming trend continues. So how bad's it going to get? Here's the McCade Cowan.
We were living in Chicago, got married in New Orleans. There's New Orleans girl. There's no choice there. So we drove from Chicago to New Orleans, planned the honeymoon in Vegas because she wasn't about to go on an airplane. She doesn't like flying to begin with. This just tipped her right over the edge. Chicago, New Orleans, drive to Vegas, drive back to Chicago. I was so happy to get back to work.
I would imagine. So that's a lot of time behind the wheel. We had a cruise book for our honeymoon. You remember Commodore Cruises?
Mhm.
They went out of business in June of 2001 or July of 2001.
Oh God.
Uh-huh.
You had deposits down and everything?
Yep. So I had to piecemeal a honeymoon together. So instead we went to Dublin, Ireland.
Oh, that's
Upgrade. Upgrade.
yeah.
For sure.
We just booked a cruise for next year.
Priceline.com was brand spanking new. 638 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. So let's talk about the repercussions or potential repercussions, what could be spilling out from the brawl, the riot that was in the court yesterday.
Somebody's going to get sued.
Okay, wait, no. Let's start with the rioters themselves.
They're going to
Let's start
sue
with
each
both-
other.
yes.
Yep.
They're going to sue the courthouse
Yep.
for lack of security or insufficient security
Let's talk about that
Because
because they are likely going to sue the courthouse.
because the courthouse has the deep pockets.
That's what they believe.
I mean, I'm making an assumption that
Yeah.
the courthouse has more money than the people brawling in the courthouse.
That's probably a safe assumption.
right. There's going to be the civil liability. I don't know that the 19th JDC is going to have liability. I think that there is a immunity, a liability shielding of sorts. People behaving badly in a courtroom. I think you're going to have a comparative fault situation. Well, it's intentional torts, but in terms of the negligence of the courthouse, I think you're going to have. I don't think they're going to be liable. Criminal liability, you will definitely see misdemeanor charges, and there is an argument for felony charges.
Yep.
Let's talk about that argument. What's it look
Did
like?
these people obstruct justice?
Right. Was this intentionally done to thwart the trial?
I haven't looked yet if there's special crimes that deal with misbehaving in a courtroom. Baby Billy.
I knew where you were
Mama
going.
told me not
Misbehaving.
to.
But Obstructing justice is a felony.
Yep.
They, on all accounts, what happened yesterday derailed justice. It delayed justice. And you know how we feel about justice delayed.
Is justice denied?
Yeah. So I think you're going to see, and I said this at the beginning, I'll say it again. I think you have to make an example of these individuals who are fighting in the courthouse. You cannot have this behavior with the business that we have to transact in the courthouse on a daily basis. As taxpayers, we all need to be looking at this saying, no, sir, not okay. Not okay. No.
Okay. Many follow-up questions.
Sure.
First and foremost, does it matter who started it?
I think it's going to be difficult to figure out who started it, especially if it's a family feud situation. But yeah, it does to a certain degree.
On the obstruction count,
But-
it would definitely matter.
I
Yep.
think the problem is self-defense goes out the window when you start having people getting kicked on the ground.
Right.
So I think you're going to have some blurred lines there. And again, who started it might be very easy. People leaving the courtroom.
Yeah.
People jawing. Fighting words. That's
Right,
that's
but
another conversation.
you know the old adage in sports, it's the second person that always gets caught.
And just because you finished the fight doesn't mean you started the fight.
Right. I mean, the woman in orange who was kicked in the head may have been
I'm not. I shouldn't be laughing at that. That really was. It's on video, guys.
not orange.
She's getting like subdued or attempted to be subdued by a deputy, and while she's moving away from the deputy, she takes the time to kick someone on the ground.
The woman she kicks, the one in orange is the one she kicks, not
Yeah.
the one who gets away from
Yeah,
the
yeah,
deputy.
Yeah. While that woman's being held down by
If she had a finishing move, it would be called a Sunny D.
Oh, finisher.
plus 2. Brian,
Thank you.
So I do think, Richard, what do you think? Do you think that there's going to be some felony level arrests? I mean, they may plead down to a misdemeanor.
They may plead down to a misdemeanor. I don't see felony level arrests out of the question at all. Now the question is, so if it's clear that somebody started the fight, then you've got the felony level arrest for obstruction, possibly. However, if you're defending yourself, is it possible you're going to end up with one of those felony charges? I mean, you may end up with it initially. I don't
think
know.
you go one of two extremes on this.
Right.
You either make an example on one end of the extreme, or the DA's office maybe shrugs its shoulders and says, hey, we can't figure out what's going on. We're just going to put safeguards in place that doesn't happen in the future.
I mean,
I wasn't there for the start of the fight, so it might be as easy as somebody really did physically start it.
Right.
Versus, what we've seen before, Brian, and guys out there listening and watching, we've seen families leaving a courtroom and kind of jawing.
Yep.
And in fact, oftentimes security will let one group leave and let the other group kind of stay.
Very common.
Yeah.
Especially on the 4th floor.
Right. And if it's my clients, I will tell my clients and the deputies, hey, we're going to let them leave first.
Yep. All the time.
I do want to rewind the clock to how this whole thing, because this got started before any jawing in the courtroom.
Oh, yeah.
Per the advocate, the case that was going on in court is related to a 2024 triple homicide in which 20-year-old Dominic Franklin allegedly shot and killed 40-year-old Shalita Valerie along with her stepfather, David Celestin, and his brother, Paul Lewis. The killings last year stemmed from a feud between the Franklin and Valerie families, authorities said. So what went off in the courtroom, and this is where I get back around to, can the court be held liable here? You knew going in that this was a powder keg. You knew putting all these people in the same room together, all these two families in the same room together, was a powder keg. So is there something to be said for...
Would you like me to defend the courthouse or sue the courthouse? Defending the courthouse.
Y'all pick sides. Flip a coin.
All right. So defending the courthouse.
Mm-hmm.
The victims have a right to be there statutorily.
Mm-hmm.
Courthouse is the courtroom is a public forum where we transact justice on a daily basis.
Uh-huh.
The defendant has a right to have family and supporters there. Everybody has a right to be there. And by the way, are you making something a thing by trying to intercede before it even happens? We don't know yet what started the fight. So before we start, and by the way, courthouse may also have what's called qualified immunity. The qualified immunity is if they're conducting their business, their lawful duties, they are immune from lawsuit. So I would say that the court will probably not have liability.
Richard, prosecute the court.
So in a negligence case, typically like this, it's almost an extension of premise liability law, in which case the courthouse knew or should have known this to be a potential powder keg, like you said, right? It's been in the news. These families have been feuding for some time. Certainly the DA knew about it. Certainly the public at large knew about it. There are oftentimes in the courthouses, and I don't know if this was the case, but there are oftentimes in courthouses where they beef up security for certain cases. We've all seen it. Every criminal defense attorney has seen an extra 4 or 5 deputies just happen to show up in court one day, and it's because they've got something they're a little concerned about. So was that the case here? Were these extra deputies already in the room, or did they come running when the call went out on the radio? That leaves to be seen.
That's the part that I keep getting stuck on is like, why was there no? You said the victim's family has a right to be in the court, and does the accused family as well?
Yes.
Well, court's open.
It's
Generally,
open.
court is
Everybody's had a right
publicly
to be
open.
there. The
Right.
only time they don't have a right to be there is when we have a pandemic or when there is a massive overflow and then you wait in the hallway, or they'll sometimes.
Well, you got to pick and choose who has to wait in the hallway at that point.
Right. Or specific closed proceedings that aren't open to the public.
The more I think about putting both these families in the same room together, considering the history, considering the accusations, considering what was going on that led up to the original accusations that had them in this courtroom to begin with, the more I think about that, the more I'm on the side of there should have been some level of privilege.
Yeah, but you have families that go into the courthouse that are opposing each other, that are feuding. You have people that go on the 4th floor with domestic violence that are just downright hate each other.
Absolutely.
And stuff doesn't happen.
Right.
I'm just saying stuff doesn't happen. I think there's a strong argument for some of the individuals in the brawl are very much responsible for this.
Always.
Yeah.
Always. The people throwing punches, the people kicking heads, the people knocking over 5-year-olds, they are ultimately the ones responsible. But we know, like, everybody else can be dragged through the process as well for not having foresight.
But I think
by their weaves.
Dragged by their weaves. But I think what we're going to find is this big brawl at the 19th is really an exception and not the rule. This is not something we normally see. I mean, in my experience, I've only seen things get physical in court.
But you're opening up
3 times total.
You're opening up why is it something we don't normally see?
Because there's security.
Because there's security.
And also,
there's an appropriate level of security.
Well, also because people conducting business in the courthouse, especially people that are out on bond,
right,
don't want to go back to jail. And how do you go back to jail? Starting freaking brawls in courthouses.
That's a quick way to go.
Yes. I agree with all this, but not having the foresight to have the appropriate level of security there.
Baton Rouge taxpayer.
I voted yes.
How are you going to have more security in the courthouse? Do you want more deputies on the street, or do you want more deputies in the courthouse? Because at some point there's a tipping point, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's not a permanent thing though. There's for special occasions things rise to the occasion, and that's kind of where
two families. Keeping it real in the courtroom.
Right, where members of one family are accused of killing members of another family. And
this is going to get worse.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to go to the street.
All right, you're standing up right now.
I'm just standing up.
Okay. Do you have court TV today?
I do have. I have 2 hours of court TV today, but I'm going to stick to the bitter end. I'm sticking to the sweet end. The sweet end, not the bitter end.
See, I assumed he had court TV because he has the pinstripe on.
Right.
It's a smooth looking jacket.
Haspel.
No, it's not
Haspel.
It's not
This
Haspel.
is Brown and Brown.
Okay.
But
another great, local clothier.
Shout out to Gino. Listen. I think the repercussions are also going to be that the attorney up for this case may have to get off. Depending on what happened and what transpired, I wouldn't want a part of this. Like if my client's family, who have a right to be there, cannot be, because Richard and I will tell you, some of the conversations we have are, you got to behave in a courtroom.
Yeah.
Oh my God. You are not helping our client if you act like a donkey in a courtroom.
Mm-hmm.
We are, in fact, working a case together right now.
You know what? We actually didn't talk about that part of it. That part of it is, what are the repercussions for Dominic Franklin, the accused, who's in the court?
Well, if he's not out on bond, nothing. Because he can always say, "Hey, look, I'm in orange.
Yep.
I'm
So was the woman on the floor.
Different shade orange.
Sun
Different
kiss.
shade
A sun
orange.
kiss.
All right, we got to take a quick break. We got Your Money Now. We'll have traffic when we come back. Legally Served will continue. We've got Franz Borghardt and Richard Sprankle in this week. We're going to pivot, though. Done with this case. Want to move over to another one, and we'll toss a coin during the break to see which one we're going to talk about. Either reinstating a BRPD officer or freeing Kyle and Eric Menendez. Stick around. We'll continue next. Which one do you want to talk about?
I mean,
only got 4 minutes.
I'm not a labor lawyer, so I could really care less about the BRPD officer.
What's the other one? What's the other one?
Kyle and Eric Menendez.
We were alive. We were alive when they went to jail.
We were.
There are a lot of people.
I watched the trials. on
I am
TV.
betting that there are girlfriends waiting for those two on the outside that are in their 20s.
I'm sure. of
Torti-
it. Prison groupies? Yeah. Yes. Did you just? Oh my God! Did Brian Haldane say what I thought he said?
I was off mic. I didn't say anything.
Now, see, that's a professional. He knows exactly how many.
I
steps it takes to
actually,
get away from
I
those
actually
fights.
need to boogie. Can you cover?
Yeah, I
Boogie.
got this. I got
They
this.
they change it up sometimes to where so you know, and so you guys know. They tell me the segment blocks I'm going to be in, and oftentimes they'll say, "Hey, you're going to be in A block." That's the top of the hour, right? Today it was, "Hey, you're not in the A block," and then I get messages that say, "Hey, you're in the A block," and I'm like, Brian Haldane takes precedent, guys.
That's right.
Apparently not, though.
Oh, talk to Brian next before you leave about what we were talking
Yeah, man. Are we still on radio? Or still on commercial? Still on break? So my job's shifting a little bit. The firm of Longman Jackie Beck is blooming and expounding and expanding at a nice rate, actually. It's going to free up a little time for me so that Franz and I can get the band back together finally.
Okay.
And start doing some stuff. So,
Okay.
Yeah. So
would love to have it as part of the podcast network over here.
Would love to be there.
Same place where I have my Louisiana Business Weekly.
would love to be there.
I am working on putting together another Saturday night lineup like before.
Oh,
Saturdays on Demand. We had to dissolve it because the only one still doing a show is Patty G.
Yeah.
And I can't have a Saturdays on Demand that's only one show.
Only one show.
Right. So, yes, let's get started on the website
Love
first
it.
and radio side second.
Love it.
Awesome.
Love it. Now
We also need to get him doing Go Rouge again. So I'm going to be working on how can we put together a podcast package to sell
okay.
where you can combine and sponsor both of them.
Like it. Like
So,
it.
It's not going to make y'all any serious money,
No.
but it'll cover the expense of carrying Go Rouge on the air.
Right.
Oh, do you want Menendez?
Well, I can speak more to the situation with Menendez than I can with the other officer. I mean, all I can give is my personal opinion. I mean, if the man was fired for cause and the cause was you did X, and now it's been overturned, well, it seems to me like he deserves a job back. You know. I think Tommy Dewey is exactly right when he said his comments about due process in the Constitution. But I can speak more to the Menendez guys, that's for sure.
In 1989, brothers Lyle and Eric Menendez, I said Kyle going into break, that was my bad. Brothers Lyle and Eric Menendez killed their parents by shooting them multiple times at close range in their Beverly Hills mansion. They were found guilty of first-degree murder and conspiracy to murder in 1996, sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. Yesterday, a Los Angeles judge reduced that sentence, making them eligible for parole. What does this look like? How did we get here? Franz had to duck out. He has court TV.
He's a busy guy.
He is a busy guy.
Oh my goodness. So yeah, so Lyle and Eric Menendez, no longer quote unquote lifers necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
A sense of life without parole means just that. You walk in the doors, you're never walking back out the doors.
Right. That's
not
what it's supposed to mean.
Not necessarily.
You go there until you're dead.
Right.
Yeah.
But now that's not necessarily the case for the Menendez brothers. They were resentenced by the judge in the case to a term of 50 years to life.
Mm-hmm.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. They've been in 35-ish years so far.
They were sentenced in 96, so that would be 29 right
29,
there.
yeah.
But I don't know if they were in jail
Right at
during the trial.
okay.
I think they were in jail the entire time during the trial and whatnot. So from the killing in 89 from the killing in 89 until now, they've been behind bars. So yes, that would make 36.
So at some point in that 50 to life, they may be parole eligible. I haven't read all the details to see if they've got immediate parole eligibility or not. I'm not sure what California laws on that are. I can say my firm does a lot of this type of work, right? People that are in jail, they've already been through the system. They've already done the appeals. And now they're trying to, relitigate some issues of their case or say, hey, I'm rehabilitated. Can we take another crack at this?
Right.
And see if maybe I can see freedom at some point.
California has a youthful offender law.
Right.
That allows individuals who committed crimes before the age of 26 to seek a reduced sentence.
That's it. Yep.
Can you imagine if we had that here?
Ooh.
That would be like 80% of the crime.
Yeah. I mean, the vast majority of ours are. Listen, there are so many guys in jail right now for crimes they committed under what's the California law under 21?
Under 26.
26.
Yes.
Yeah.
The accused in our previous story was 20.
We could probably empty out
triple homicide is 20.
We could probably empty out a few of our jails.
Yeah.
A few of our prisons for that.
Yeah.
Easily. Now, okay, well, let's talk about that for a second. Let's say a guy committed a pretty bad crime at 20 and he's 60 now and has been a model offender. What do we do with that guy? What do we?
One of the people commenting on this said it was great that this is happening because other people in jail will look to them as role models and then want to be model prisoners themselves.
Some of them were interviewed about that.
Yeah. I find it hard to believe that everybody in jail's following this story closely or following the news at all closely.
There are some that are.
There's some.
Promise.
Sure.
I bet you money you could grab
absolutely
plenty of guys at Angola there to follow.
Oh,
plenty of them.
You'd have to define plenty for. I think we have different definitions of plenty on that one. But getting back around to this, you have the youthful offender part of this. You also have all the information about the sexual assault.
Right.
Does that change things?
It does.
Yeah.
Because the way we look at sexual assault and sexual assault trauma and all the things that come along with that is very different than what we did back in the late 80s.
We've got a bill going through our legislative process here in Louisiana right now. It's SB 152 by Senator Beth Mizell.
Yep.
We talked about it yesterday.
Right.
I think would apply in this case as well, to where these guys would not have gone to prison.
No.
Well, no, because it doesn't cover crimes of violence. But we would be looking at a completely different scenario based off the way the laws are today.
I think we would have been entirely looking at it in a big difference. And I was listening yesterday, and maybe I'm confused on the crimes of violence, whether or not it's covered, because this is kind of a self-defense situation.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So it's a lot like, and I forgot the young man's name. Attorney Jared Ambo had the Netflix story.
Yep. We're straight up out of time, though. We'll continue over on Facebook Live. He's Richard Sprinkle. We appreciate it. We appreciate Franz as well. Here comes news.
Bummer.
What's that guy's name?
I forgot. But anyway.
Killed his dad.
Yeah. I think I killed my dad or I think I shot my dad, or I think I killed my dad was the name of the Netflix show. I can't remember. Which are the words he said to 911 dispatch when he called. But so this step, just so folks know, this step.
Tomplay.
Yeah.
Anthony Tomplay.
Yeah. So this step for the Menendez brothers is similar to what we have in Louisiana, called clemency, right? And that's when somebody goes from LWOP, life without opportunity for parole, to getting numbers, and that's a big step. Numbers. You've got a sentence of a defined period. Here we say, okay, you're not at life without parole, but your sentence is now 99 years, and you're parole eligible after X, right? So that gives the guy that I was talking about, the went in at 20, and now he's 60. Well, maybe he can get out sometime between 60 and 80, somewhere in there. And you can make a lot of arguments like, okay, he's never going to do that crime again. Number one, especially at that age,
Because he ain't got no more parents.
Right. Well, you talking about the Menendez specifically?
Yeah.
Right. The parents are gone.
Yeah.
The problem's gone.
Right.
So they're never going to commit that crime again. If they've been the model prisoners that everybody claims they have been, I don't see the further benefit by them staying, especially if it's just costing the California taxpayers a ton of money, which it is. Let's be honest.
Yeah. All right. Well, good segment. I need to have y'all both in together more often.
It's fun.
It is fun.
It's great when Franz lets me talk.
Kill the mics.
Oh.
7:05 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Hour 2 coming your way right now. Brian here with you. John LaBeouf producing. We are starting off your second hour, roughly where we started off the first hour. We're at about 72 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. Thanks again to Richard Sprinkle and Franz Borghardt for a very lively legal. I need to get the two of them in there together more often. I'll get in here more often because that's I can just step back and let them go at it. So good stuff. This hour, Paul Sawyer is going to join us in our next segment. Talk a little bit about the Amy River Basin Commission. They came out with their master plan yesterday. This hour, we have, I believe we have Lana Venable from Louisiana Lawsuit Abuse Watch. A lot went down in Jude A yesterday, Senate Judiciary Committee A. We will break that down for you as well. Right now, though, top stories and trending.
Number 5.
Drago Seafood is about to come back to Baton Rouge with a new location over in Perkins Row. They're going to be in the old Kona Grill location. Loft 18 is preparing to open where Drago's was off of Constitution. You know, the old Blockbuster Music? That's where they're revamping.
Number 4.
Long-awaited master plan to tackle flooding along the Amy River is finally in motion. That plan covers 7 parishes along the Amy River Basin. Was approved yesterday by the Amy River Basin Commission. Like I said, Paul Sawyer is coming in our next segment to talk about it.
Number 3.
Metro Council set to consider Mayor Sid Edwards' Thrive Baton Rouge funding plan at this evening's meeting. A little over 2 months since the plan was first announced. The plan is split into 4 distinct items on the agenda. Each item will be subject to public hearing and vote. If approved by the council, the items will appear before all of us this November.
Number 2.
We now have more, or just a slight bit more, on the Monday night shooting off of 11th Street. All we knew yesterday was that there was a shooting. We didn't have any information about suspects, victims, the status of the victims or anything. What we know now, and we still don't have names, what we know now is it was a suicide, according to BRPD.
Number 1.
8 people are accused of starting a riot and injuring a child after a fight broke out at the 19th JDC courtroom yesterday morning. This was the topic of conversation all last hour. The fight broke out around 10:17 a.m. in Judge Fred Kerfasi's courtroom after family members got into an argument. These family members have been feuding for some time. In fact, the case that was going on inside the courtroom was a triple homicide involving both families. We got like 10 trending stories now, don't we, John?
Yeah, and speaking of homicides, Eric and Lau Menendez will have a new shot at freedom after 35 years behind bars for murdering their parents.
Yep.
Thanks to a recent ruling by a judge.
So, it's the other topic we talked about last hour.
Yep.
It's when you lived through it at the time, it feels weird if you weren't following the story the whole way through.
Right.
Like, I haven't been following the story the whole way through, but like if you've seen the Netflix documentary and all the other coverage and everything, apparently things can change.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm just watching at this point. That's it. I'm just watching. I have no commentary.
All right. Well, in other news, a big announcement from President Trump Tuesday was that sanctions against Syria would be lifted, and what he said was a move to normalize relations and, quote, give them a chance at greatness.
Yep. The president is going to Qatar today to accept a $400 million plane. That seems to be a big point of contention. A lot of controversy over that. I mean, all the Donald Trump supporters are like, what? No big deal. Are we only supposed to get gifts if they're like on the sly? And then the Trump, those who oppose him are like, wouldn't you be losing your mind if this was anybody else getting this gift? I guess I see both sides.
Yeah.
I mean, if you remove Donald Trump's name and replace it with Joe Biden, you would be so mad about it. But the flip side is like, this is all out in the open. It's all public.
Yep. It's on the table.
Yep.
It's on a sleight of hand here. In other news, Pete Rose and Shoeless Joe Jackson were reinstated by Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred on Tuesday, making both eligible for the Hall of Fame.
Look, I'm a big proponent that Pete Rose belongs in the Hall of Fame. Yep. I'm a huge proponent of it. Yes, he bet on baseball, but did he affect the outcome of games with those bets?
Right.
His
And I think
nickname
that's what
was
they're thinking.
Charlie Hustle. Was there ever a time that he was tanking? I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't want to think so because it's my childhood right there, right?
Right, for sure.
We're talking more Reds Pete Rose than Phillies Pete Rose, to be sure. But the Pete Rose of the 80s is the Pete Rose I remember. He's one of the best to ever play the game. Shoeless Joe Jackson tanked a World Series. Huge difference when you're actively affecting the outcome of the game versus just having a couple dollars on the game.
Yeah. So now
Yep.
both eligible. So there's that. Also, Josh and Jace, can we talk about the Brits on the Bayou? Can we talk about this a
who
little
have
bit?
managed to mispronounce every town in the state.
Yes.
Who have managed to mispronounce the Huma.
Huma.
Then Huma. They're also
shout out to those guys.
Well, look, I understand we have a lot of weirdly pronounced names.
Yeah.
But
and is it for the comedic effect?
Yeah.
Are they just kind of going for it like, let's
what
yeah,
they're doing all kinds of other things now. They're giving some Louisianans trips back to the UK.
let's go, man.
I know.
Let's go.
So they're coming to Baton Rouge. We got to get a hold of them.
We got to
figure
I've
out how to
made
get
an
a hold of
attempt.
them.
I know you have too, right?
Yes, I have.
We're making attempts. People.
Multiple desperate plays in the DMs.
Please just stop in.
Just
come on. This is where
holler.
we're at.
We need you on. Don't even have to stop in. I'll go where you are going.
Yeah.
Like, just tell me. Like, and by the way, if they're not going to Chicken Shack, they're missing out.
Man, yeah, and they hit up a few places in Homa, of course, Homa being my hometown there. They hit up Big Mike's, Mr. Ronnie's, and Big Al's. But man, my recommendations would have been Cajun Critters, A-Bears, Sienna's.
Oh, down at home. In
Scarlet
Hema?
Scoop, yeah. Downtown Joe's. Oh my goodness. That's a real taste of Homa.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
All right.
Man.
We're live on Facebook as
Heck
we are
yeah.
every day, currently, courtesy of the folks over at Lake Urgent Care. Where do they need to go in Baton Rouge? Give me the Baton Rouge staple that they absolutely have to attend, that they absolutely have to go to. Because we get back around to the discussion of what's truly ours.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
If you're down in Homa, you got...
I guess
if
that's
you're
why I
in
was naming the
Cajun
holes
country,
in the walls, right? Like,
Right. You're going to go get Boudin over in Scott. You're going to go to Best Stop or Billy's for all that, right?
Yeah.
When you're in Baton Rouge, what is uniquely Baton Rouge that is an absolute must for them?
You want to
Chicken Shack is
Chicken Shack?
They need to.
You mentioned Rocco's yesterday as well.
I did mention Rocco's.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I love, as much as I love Rocco, it's Rocco's New Orleans style po' boys.
You're right. You're right.
not going to find a better po' boy in Baton Rouge, but you're not coming to Baton Rouge seeking a po' boy.
Yeah.
That being said, they still need to. They need
for sure.
Rocco's fried oyster po'
Can you
boy.
imagine Rocco with those two guys?
Yeah. No, not at all.
Instant hit.
That's
instant hit. Viral.
This has to be on air.
Oh yeah.
Facebook Live, sound off. What are the must stops for Josh and Jace? Coming up next, Paul Sawyer's in studio. We'll talk about the Amy River Basin Master Plan. That's next. Come on, man. You texted after I was already in the segment.
I got Griffins.
Oh, Griffins too.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, Swamp Burger.
Man, yeah. Oh my goodness. How you doing, John?
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
See, man, you know the guy who used to roll with Garrett Graves would know all the restaurants.
Yeah.
That's all he ever did.
That's all we did.
Was know all the restaurants.
Oh, Brooks Snowballs too.
Yeah.
Well, they hit up Mr. Ronnie's. That's good.
I
Man.
know I'm a little bit better than I should because my wife is from there.
Oh, come on. Yeah.
My wife is from there, so we used to hit all those restaurants. We had
Bayou
it's
Delight.
not open anymore, but man, Eastway.
Oh, Eastway Seafood. Yeah.
Man, that was great.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, right there on the east side of town.
Back when we were living in DC at the time, and so I flew home, and I went to meet with my wife's parents because I wanted to do the whole Southern formality.
Yeah.
Ask her dad, for permission to marry her.
Wow.
And so I was working up my courage, and when I got there, they're like, "Hey, let's go to Eastway." So we were getting into some seafood, and I'm just drinking beer, and there's another beer, and there's another beer. I'm like,
Oh yeah.
wait a minute, I'm getting drunk. I better get this over with. And so, fortunately, my father-in-law was keeping pace with me. so
Oh wow.
the rest is history.
100%. That was his plan. 100%. He knew it was coming.
Yeah.
So
That's incredible.
We celebrated 25 years yesterday.
wow.
Oh, congratulations.
Okay. Millennium marriage.
Yeah. That was a cool thing about getting married in 2000. Is, I could never forget and it was on Mother's Day weekend, so I could never forget the day.
Oh wow.
The
That's awesome.
yeah, I have a a different story behind my day. 11 days after 9/11.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Everything's shut down, even in Baton Rouge, even in wherever you were. Where were you at the time?
New Orleans.
You
Got
in
married
New
at
Orleans?
Ursulines Chapel. And then the airports opened up 3 days before our honeymoon. 3 days before we left, we went to Dublin, Ireland for our honeymoon. And I just told the story to Richard a minute ago. We were booked to take a cruise on Commodore Cruise Lines. We filed bankruptcy and closed in July of that year. I know. So that leaves me to plan
Did you
a.
get a refund? No.
I know.
Whoa.
So I had no budget to begin with, and then Priceline.com was brand spanking new,
Yeah.
and
It
we
worked.
piecemealed flight like to New York, to London, and then
I
into
bet the flights were cheap.
New York to Frankfurt to yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Flights were cheap.
Um,
We were living in DC at the time, and that was, I hate to say it because it's for bad circumstances, but that was the time to travel.
safest time to
because-
fly ever.
Yeah.
When we had a layover
You had to
in
get there
Frankfurt.
4 hours before your flight.
Yeah. But when we had a layover in Frankfurt, Germany, the entire walk, we had switched planes. The entire walk from one plane to another was just troops with full-on military troops with machine guns. I never felt safer. I know. But when we landed in Dublin, the last night of the trip, we still didn't have a hotel reservation for that night. So,
Oh wow.
yeah, it was crazy.
Wow.
Ended up in one of the best hotels in town too, just by happenstance. Last minute cancellation. So 717 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Yesterday, the Amy River Basin Commission held their monthly meeting and approved a master plan. Joining us now to talk about it is Paul Sawyer. Paul, welcome back. How are you, man?
Hey, I'm good. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing very well as
Good, you're
well.
looking great.
Thank you. I appreciate that. The as are you. We were talking about Josh and Jace
Yeah.
and the trending stories there where they've been hitting up. You used to run with Garrett Graves, and his social media suggests that he never took a meeting that wasn't in a restaurant.
Yeah, our navigational beacons were set for restaurants. And
Yeah.
So that's how we would pace our distances and find places. And by the way, there's no better place to meet constituents and just jaw with them at a restaurant, because you just come up to them and say, "Hey, how you doing? Just represent you. How you doing?
Mhm.
Anything on your mind?" And meanwhile, you're eating great food. You go to a place like James Restaurant, formerly James Grill in Denham Springs, and you walk out wearing a coat of the kitchen grease. 'Cause
Yes.
you come back with that James Restaurant fragrance. They ought to bottle that.
Bottled grease.
Yeah.
That's yeah. All right. Amy River Basin Commission meeting was yesterday. Master plan comes out of the back end of it. Give me the details.
So this is actually pretty exciting. So, it's a master plan. I call it a flood plan, another plan, whoop-de-doo. Well, the reason that this is exciting is because we have been flooded. I mean, catastrophic floods, not once, not twice, but over the decades, they just keep happening. They keep happening. And you look around and ask yourself, what has been done? And you really can't point to anything substantial. I mean, the most substantial thing that's been done in this area is the Comeet River Diversion Canal.
Mhm.
And Comeet was designed for a 1980s, actually really a 1960s flood. That's really what it was designed for. And Brian, it's still not done.
Right.
So what's exciting about this plan is that we finally have a plan. We have a way to tackle flooding. And what's exciting about this is it's not just a plan that's going to go jump on a shelf and sit there. We already have $100 million, more than $100 million that we're already putting to work right now. What's also exciting about this plan is you've got 7 parishes who are working together. I mean, we wrestled through this plan and to come out with a consensus, and we finally have a plan that they have skin in the game on, and we're working together to build these projects, more than $100 million in projects. And look, the 2 other really exciting things is that if this plan is fully implemented by 2050, we will have cut average annual flood damage costs in half. We will have cut them in half. And the other thing that I'm really excited about is that we can just revise the flood maps in the Amy River Basin. And just by revising and updating the flood maps in the Amy River Basin, we can remove 30,000 structures from flood zones. And what does that mean? That means eliminated or reduced flood insurance premiums for homeowners, which amounts to $25 million in savings to the homeowners in the Amite River Basin.
The reduction of future expected average flood losses. How'd you get to that number?
So our consultants, our team of engineers and scientists who put together the plan, they first estimate that over the course of I forget the time span. Let's say it was about 20 years, maybe.
Mhm.
Over the course of the time span, you measure how much in flood damages occur every year over that course of the lifetime. So it's an average. It's
Mhm.
an average. And so if we do nothing, that average is going to jump to more than $500 million average annual costs. And so if our plan is fully implemented, we will cut that average in half. And so let me make a distinction here. Those are cost avoidances. So it's very important. It's cost avoidance. That means damages that will not occur. That's what we estimate. What I'm excited about on the flood maps is that the $25 million a year in premium elimination or premium reduction, that's money in your pocket. That's money back into the economy because you're not paying an insurance company. You're not paying FEMA for flood insurance. That's money that you get to keep and money you get to put back into the economy. And look, I can't make any scientific connection with these two, but I love playing with numbers. So $25 million a year over 10 years, $250 million over 40 years. That's $1 billion. It's $1 billion in savings to homeowners. Comite River Diversion Canal from concept to completion is approximately 40 years and $1 billion.
Oh, wow.
And so, you compare the two. It's like, wait, we've spent decades trying to build this thing, and it's still not done. And yet we can revise the maps, pretty quickly, a year or two, and we could start saving homeowners right now, $25 million a year.
A couple things I want to break down from the press release that came out after the fact. Is when you look at what the bullet points are, where money will be going and whatnot. Is the Comite Diversion Canal just considered completed at this point as far as the master plan is concerned?
So as far as Amite River Basin Commission is concerned, Comite is a project that's ongoing. It's out there.
Mhm.
We factor in a completed Comite Diversion Canal in our modeling,
Mhm.
but in terms of what we're focused on, what we're paying attention to and what we're building, Comite is another project. Yes, we are still a partner on that project, but our role is so minimized now that it's fully funded. Almost all the property has been acquired. And so the Corps of Engineers is just finishing the job of constructing the pipeline or constructing the canal. They are expecting to advertise and award the 6 final contracts of the Comite River Diversion Canal by the end of this calendar year, which by our projection puts us at end of 2028, sometime in 2029, when the Comite River Diversion Canal can be completed. But as far as we're concerned, look, Comite River Diversion Canal is at the westernmost point of the Amite River Basin. We're looking east. We're looking at the rest of the basin, and that's what our master plan does. That's what these projects do. We look at the rest of the basin.
All right, a couple of the projects that are in here. The Upper Amite Flood Risk Reduction and Restoration. What does that look like, and who does it affect?
So that's actually a project that's really exciting to me. So the Amite River wants to meander like the Mississippi River. And over years, there have been industrial operations that have occurred on the Amite River that have left the bends in the river basically moonscapes. And what happens is floodwater goes over, it increases the velocity, which aggravates flooding, as well as it picks up sediment and it moves it down the river more quickly. And so we've got money right now. We're in fact, I'm meeting with stakeholders today on this project, where we will restore those areas. And what that does is, when you restore those areas and you help that river get back to bending and meandering the way it wants to, it slows the river down, which allows East Baton Rouge Parish, Livingston Parish, and Ascension Parish to drain more efficiently. What we saw in the 2016 flood is that all the water wanted to rush to the spigot, which is Lake Maurepas, wanted to rush to the spigot as quickly as possible, and it all backed up.
Yeah.
Projects like this allow that upper part of the basin to move more slowly and to allow the lower part of the basin to drain more quickly.
The Bayou Manchac Flood Risk Reduction Project. What is that?
So that's also another exciting project. You know, you've got EBR, Ascension, Iberville Parish, Pontchartrain Levee District, BRAC, and us all working together. We're going to reroute the Wards Creek. Or, you know, if Bayou Manchac wants to flow west, Wards Creek empties into Bayou Manchac, but it flows east, and it creates backwater flooding, and it also creates siltation. So we'll reorient Wards Creek. We'll raise that Perkins Road Bridge, which is very low.
Yeah.
Goes underwater all the time. And then there are some just underwater mounds, really at Wards Creek and Jones Creek, where the silt builds up and it forms like a weir or an underwater dam that slows the water from getting out of Bayou Manchac into the Amite River. And so we'll take care of all of those things. We'll help Bayou Manchac flow more easily into the Amite River. And by the way, you've got Bayou Fountain, you've got Wards Creek flowing into, and I said Jones Creek flows into Bayou Manchac. Jones Creek goes into Amite River. You've got Bayou Manchac and you've got Wards Creek that flow Bayou Fountain and Wards Creek that flow into Bayou Manchac. 70% of East Baton Rouge Parish drains out of Wards Creek. And so that's how important it is for Bayou Manchac to function. And then Ascension Parish in Iberville, if Bayou Manchac is not draining efficiently, neither is Spanish Lake and that in Bluff Swamp, and that creates a tremendous amount of flood risk in those two parishes. And so Bayou Manchac, it's very important that Bayou Manchac is able to drain more efficiently into Amite River, because so much depends on that happening. There's so much flood risk in EBR, Ascension, Iberville, and that's why you've got so many stakeholders working together to get this done.
All right, I want to pause on the projects for just a second because we only got 4 minutes left. I want to bring this part up here. A quote from the press release from Livingston Parish President Randy DeLatte, who says this plan is historic for 2 reasons: cooperation and consensus among parishes and commissioners like never before, and transformational projects to tackle the decades-long persistent flooding in the region, including removing sediment buildup in the lower Amite River. All right, the cooperation and consensus part. Comment on this, because you're talking about a lot of different players in the game who are at different stages of the Amite River, so they have different roles to play and consequences if they don't play them.
Yeah. So, this is probably the most understated but most phenomenal aspect of this plan is the cooperation. You've got 7 parishes working together. I mean, where does that happen anywhere in the state of Louisiana,
right,
where you've got 7 parishes, 7 parish governments working together? And what these parishes know, first of all, putting them on the board means that not only do they have skin in the game in their own parishes, but now they're cooperating with other parishes because they know that the Amite River Basin is a watershed. If you put a project over here, if you plant a mailbox over here, you're going to put water over here. It's dynamic. It requires organization and systemic management for this watershed to drain efficiently. And so that's why St. James Parish cares about what East Feliciana and St. Helena are doing, and
right,
vice versa.
Right. And this is another thing that we saw back in 2016 as well, with all the problems came to the forefront, which kind of exposed whatever his role should have been.
Yeah.
Past tense.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
This is future.
And important thing about the 2016 flood. Now you can't build a plan around a 2016 flood because it's a biblical event. It's a 1,000-year flood. However, what the 2016 flood did is it revealed everything that could go wrong in the Amite River Basin. And so it revealed every flaw in the Amite River Basin. And basically what it was saying is that if this thing doesn't drain efficiently, you've got a crowd of people trying to fit through the exit door at once. And it cannot work. There has to be an orderly withdrawal, an orderly evacuation from the basin into Lake Maurepas. And that's why in that orderly evacuation occurs in all of the 7 parishes from St. Helena and East Feliciana all the way down to St. James Parish.
It's like trying to empty Tiger Stadium after a game,
Exactly.
right? If only Nicholson Drive is open, it's going to take longer to get out, right?
Exactly. That's exactly it.
Where do we go? We got 30 seconds left. Where do we go from here? Implementation looks like what?
So first of all, those projects, those are underway right now.
Okay.
So we're not even waiting for that. I think for us, while we're working on those projects, we're working on the mapping We also have tons of data that we're going to help homeowners and emergency responders better plan about emergency situations in their home ownership, and then look for projects down the road.
He is Paul Sawyer from the Amy River Basin Commission. We greatly appreciate the time, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Here comes news.
I'm
Ooh,
the best
nailed it on the
press
time.
guest you've ever had.
Well,
Today.
Franz
Today.
Was looking like a Dick Tracy villain, so he had the comedic black pinstripe, not just black pinstripe.
Oh, like a Dick Tracy
Borderline
villain. Yeah.
suit. So, yes, absolutely.
Cool. Hey, thank you.
Always,
Thank you.
thank you.
Appreciate it. All right.
Yes, sir. Nice meeting you.
I'll be looking on Facebook to see what y'all come up with for the Baton Rouge must do.
Yeah, hopefully people. Elsie's plate pie's got to be in there.
Elsie,
Elsie's got to be in there.
Phil's, I think.
Phil's Oyster Bar's got to be in there.
Yeah. A lot of great places. I'm tempted to say Superior, but because so many people go there all the time,
Right.
It's such a popular place. But then I hesitate to say, Mexican, because that's not our culture here in Baton Rouge.
Right.
So, but it's a great place.
Well, I mean, depending on where in Baton Rouge you are, it's kind of. I mean, I live in Sherwood, so send them a noodle bowl.
That's right. And my office is out there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Almost. We're in between the banks that get robbed.
That Regents that got robbed the other day.
So what do y'all say?
Same guy that robbed.
What Baton Rouge staples should Josh and Jace hit up while they're in town? Let us know. Fire away.
Okay. I mean, first don't succeed. Later, Paul.
Well, Brian, I finally saw Sinners last night.
Oh, how was it?
It was a trip.
Scary?
I don't know about scary. There were some funny parts. There were some funny parts. Really impressed with the visual effects. I mean, Michael B. Jordan playing two roles, playing twins. Like,
Ooh, I know nothing about it.
right. Well, yeah. I mean, I was kind of blown away just by that. The way they interacted and the way it was just. That was a fantastic
Do
movie.
you have Lana's number?
I don't. And speaking of movies, I want to get back with you. Okay, going back to the movie. I just saw this morning that Nicolas Cage is going to be starring in a movie as John Madden. And Christian Bale is going to be Al Davis.
First of all, it's terrible casting.
You think? You ought to see him in the wig. I'm going to have to send you a big Nicolas Cage as John Madden. Oh, man.
How does that play? Like, what is?
Right. I don't know if it's just supposed to be like a.
I'm going to kidnap Vince Lombardi.
Yeah, check it out. Look at this.
That's not bad.
I mean,
Okay. He could be bigger.
Christian Bale right next to him. As Al
That
Davis.
doesn't look like Al Davis, but a little bit.
Yeah, man. What a trip.
Josh says Louis. But
Louis.
Josh Lowry says Louis Cafe.
Never been to
Okay.
this.
Simple.
Good.
Breakfast, yeah.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
that. Little brunch spot? Or is it just
Greasy diner, overnight food. Varsity lets out at 2 a.m. You're going to Louis for hash browns.
there you go.
A little bit of bacon,
Man. I haven't been to the varsity in a while. Man. Speaking of the varsity. Funny story about the varsity. You know the band POD? I performed with them at the varsity.
Really?
That was a fun night.
Renee was not impressed with Dragos. I love Dragos. I swear by Dragos. Took the wife there all of once while it was open because we know the one down in Metairie.
Yeah. Do you
I
find a
was
difference
impressed.
between the one in Metairie and the one in Baton Rouge? Is there a big difference, or?
Yeah. The one in Baton Rouge was not busy at all when we went.
Oh.
Galen says, since Pete Rose bet on the performance of his own team while managing the Reds, how can anyone say that he didn't affect the outcome of the game? OTOH, the ban was a lifetime ban and he gone. So I'm okay with him being voted in the Hall of Fame. On the other hand, OTOH. So yes, it was a lifetime ban and his life is over. I 100% agree with that. But I would argue that if you are betting on your team, not against your team, he's not shaving points or runs. He's not tanking. He's trying to win. You're already incentivized to win with your own paycheck. How is this? I don't think it's detrimental to the game to have added incentive to win. And that's the difference between him and Shoeless Joe. Shoeless Joe actually actively tanked. All right, not to fanboy on that last segment too much, but 3 different times I heard Paul say, this is exciting to me. Look, I don't care what level of nerddom there is out there. If you've got a guy doing a job who's excited to do the job, you know the job's going to get done well. That's why I'm a little bit fired up. So if it's exciting to him, it's exciting to me, and we can expect good things. Where we cannot expect good things, except that it's going to stay dry a little bit longer, is the forecast. Here's Emma Kate Cowan. Uh, 12 minutes. The Hallelujah Crab at Jubin's. Put that on the list, says Byron. Talk about Jason Josh coming to town, the 2 Brits that have taken the internet taking Reels and TikTok by storm with their tour of Louisiana. Yeah, I'll add that one. That's a definite right there. What say you? Where should Jason Josh go? Post up. We're live on Facebook, courtesy of Lake Urgent Care. We're live every day, courtesy of Lake Urgent Care. But taking your suggestions as to where they should stop when they're in Baton Rouge, which I believe they're here like right now. Also going on right now is the state legislature. The fiscal session continues, although insurance still remains a headline. A lot of movement yesterday over in Jude A. Full disclosure, I'm surprised that we saw as much as we did. Joining us now to break it down is Lana Venable from Louisiana Lawsuit Abuse Watch. Lana, welcome back. How are you?
Morning, Brian. I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm very well as well. So your general takeaway from yesterday was what?
Some progress, but definitely still need more.
Walk us through where you saw progress.
So the Judiciary A committee met yesterday to take up some legislation that was previously passed by the House.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, there were only a handful of bills that took up. There's several more good bills that we're hoping the clock will not run out on, but these bills did pass, so we believe that there's a good chance for them to make it all the way through the process. Each of these bills passed on a pure party line, 4-3 vote, with the chair casting the deciding vote. So some good news, though. Representative Chenevier's move Louisiana from a pure comparative fault to a modified comparative fault system passed, and so that means there now is a bar to recovery for people who are responsible for 51% or more of an accident are not allowed to recover damages. So we believe that's a really good bill.
Mm-hmm.
The housing presumption, which unfortunately died last year at the altar of the House, the Senate Judiciary Committee, did pass this time around by Representative Mellerin, House Bill 450. So the housing presumption is a Louisiana law that was judicially created that basically assumes that if you have an injury after you filed a lawsuit in an accident, that it was caused by that accident and was not a pre-existing condition.
I'm sorry. Hang on. We're going to drop her on hold real quick. John, pick up, see if we can't reconnect. We're talking with Lana Venable from Louisiana Lawsuit Abuse Watch about what went down in the Judiciary A Committee yesterday over to the Senate side. We had a terrible connection there. I was only catching about a third of what she was actually saying. So we're going to hang up. Lana's going to call us right back. We're going to pick things back up here in just a minute. And yeah, Lana was talking about HB 431 by Representative Chenevier. That is modified comparative fault. We talked with Representative Chenevier about that a couple weeks ago. Basically, the long and the short of that is if the accident's your fault, if the accident is more than 50% your fault, you can't sue. There's also the Housley presumption we've covered a lot around here, which repeals a previous law. Couple of others that made it through. We got your back, Lana. How are you? Yep, you got it?
Hey, sorry about that, Brian. Yes, I'm back.
So much clearer here. Awesome. Also passing yesterday was House Bill 436 by Gabe Ferment. And that one, I can't tell if that's going to be an underrated big deal or not.
Yeah, that one's not really on our list for Louisiana Lawsuit Abuse Watch because we're dealing directly with legal abuses. But certainly, I think that's an important bill to just add more stability to our system, and that those are sort of outliers. Although we've seen more and more of them of late, of accidents involving illegal aliens. So yeah, that's a very solid bill, and very happy to see that one pass committee as well.
Were there any others that made it through committee yesterday that really caught your eye?
Yes, House Bill 434 by Representative Witt. That's often referred to as the no pay, no play bill. Mm-hmm. So this basically allows if you're an uninsured driver, you're going to be ineligible to receive the first $100,000 of any payout. Previously, the bar was at $15,000, so that increases the amount that uninsured drivers would be eligible for receiving under the law. So that's important too. I mean, if you're uninsured, there should be a limit there. Certainly, we believe. So that's another good bill. Also, by Senator Mike Reese, this is really a key bill for us this session. Is his bill that deals with medical transparency. So we talked a lot about this too, Brian, but if these are sometimes referred to as phantom damages or collateral source issue, which actually was vetoed by the governor. But this ensures that plaintiffs are fairly compensated based on the amount they actually paid for reasonable and necessary medical care versus, if you will, the sticker price. Mm-hmm. So, the insurance and healthcare providers negotiate what's actually finally paid. And so what juries are seeing at this is essentially just that initial bill before the negotiator rates. So this brings some much needed transparency. Was amended a bit, which, we would have been happier without that amendment, but we're going to continue to press forward on that important legislation as well.
What fell short?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, there were about 16 bills that passed out of the House, and you see here we've dealt with, I believe that's 5. Mm-hmm. So that leaves a good number of bills on the table. That's disappointing. We hope to see more of those bills make it over to the Senate side. One of those that's really important is House Bill 435 by Representative Egan, and that one actually sets a general damages cap. Right now, we have an unlimited cap on general damages, so this would give us a cap of $5 million, which is a very generous cap, and certainly in line with, I believe, even more generous than some of our neighboring states. So we believe that one is really important as well. Also, another bill by Representative Chenevier. She last year brought us transparency in third-party funding litigation. Yes. So we want to tighten up what we did in 2024, what she was able to accomplish by strengthening that. And her bill last year actually was amended so that you could make discoverable who was funding a third party that was funding a lawsuit. Her bill actually seeks to provide the information up front so that you don't have to go and seek it out. So we believe that's a very important bill as well. So, just lots moving on this front. I think lots of us continue to forget that it's a fiscal session because there are so many issues this session that do not deal with fiscal matters, including all of these legal reform bills that are all critically important.
We got Lana Venable from Louisiana Lawsuit Abuse Watch with us. Talk about what went through Jude A yesterday. Is Jude A done? Because did they get through everything?
Oh, Brian, I think that's a great question. We certainly are hopeful that we'll see more of these bills. But again, with the clock ticking on the session, we're nearing the end here with just a few 2-3 weeks left. So we're going to continue to push for that and fast track the remaining bills to the extent that we can.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, we were really hoping that we would have seen more bills and been able to address them earlier in the session to ensure they could move all the way through the process.
Getting back to a few of the ones that got through yesterday, specifically Representative Cheneviers and Representative Mellorine's, those two, were they amended at all during the meeting yesterday?
Representative Chenevier's bill, I believe, was attempted to be amended, and that amendment was rejected. So we feel really good about that. Representative Mellorine's, I do not believe, was amended. So, and again, I hope I didn't miss that, but anyway, we believe that those are both in a really good posture to move forward, and both would be very helpful in bringing a lot more balance and fairness to our civil justice system, which we so desperately need.
So the next step for both of these, as they are House bills, they've basically got one more step to go before making their way to the governor's desk, which the governor has already said, you put it on my desk and I'll sign it. So we should be in the clear on that. We should be in the clear on that front for sure. But getting over that last hurdle is going to be tough, especially as we get past the midway point of the legislative session. I mean, it might feel like, oh, there's only one more step to go. But is there a worry that the fiscal issues are going to take over, the budget's going to take over, capital outlay is going to take over? Is there a worry about being tabled?
Brian, I think that's a really good point. I think there's always that worry when you kind of get down to toward the end of the session with what moves and what sort of stays on the calendar. So yes, I mean, and I know that our folks are working diligently to ensure that these bills do make it all the way through the process, and that we can have some really solid successes this year. And look, we're not going anywhere. We're going to continue. We'll keep coming back, continuing to build on whatever successes we're able to make this year. But I do also want to note, one of, I think, the most disturbing questions to me throughout these hearings is the pointed question, if we pass this bill, can you guarantee that this will lower insurance rates? And I think the answer to that, obviously is a resounding no, because the last time I checked, none of us has a crystal ball. I think if we could answer those kinds of questions, we'd all be out buying lottery tickets. Right. But, the most important point to remember here is that the end goal is to create a more fair and balanced civil justice system that is aligned with other states, where Louisiana is not an outlier. When we have that kind of system in place, one of the benefits that we expect to see is a reduction in costs that are passed down to consumers that does include insurance rates. These bills are intended to be part of our system because they are good public policy. And I feel like that oftentimes gets lost in the discussion, but we're not passing these bills or interested in passing these bills solely to lower insurance rates. We need to keep in mind that these bills are critical to improving our civil justice system and making Louisiana better across the board. These lower insurance rates and lower costs for other goods and services would certainly be a consequence of that. But I think we have to keep in mind that's not the end goal here. The end goal is just good public policy and doing the right thing to reduce costs across the board for Louisianans.
Well, and you and I have talked about this before, Lana. We're going to go to 51, John. You and I have talked about this before, Lana, in that look, lawyers have a problem with a lot of these, and lawyers argue for a living, so they're really good at it. So there will be a divide and conquer mentality to split all the bills up and say no one bill is going to be the solution to all of our problems. So continuing along with that, no, let's regroup everything back together again. Even if we have to lose a few along the way, as many as we can is a good thing.
Absolutely. I mean, every win is a win. We believe that we need as many of these bills to pass as possible to get us toward that comprehensive reform and the real change that we need to see in Louisiana. I mean, Brian, we have to ask ourselves, other neighboring states, Texas, it did this decades ago and continues to make improvements to their civil justice system. They've been ranked one of the top states for business year after year after year. More recently, we've seen Florida make these changes, which has similar, a lot of the same issues that we do in Louisiana in terms of disasters and things like that also affect insurance rates. And then most recently, Georgia enacted sweeping reforms. So all these other states are getting it, and they don't seem to be having these same arguments that we do. They seem to understand that this is good public policy, good for the state, good for citizens, good for businesses. And for some reason, we seem to be opposed to that here for some reason. So we really need to look at our whole motivation here and understand the end goal, and that really is to do what is best for Louisianans across the board, not any single sector of them.
She is Lana Venable from Louisiana Lawsuit Abuse Watch. We will reconvene this conversation next week, see where we've gotten from now till then.
Sounds good. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you. I always appreciate the time. Good stuff there from Lana Venable, who was in the committee meeting yesterday. A lot of takeaways there. Okay, if you've got 4, 5, 6 bills of the 16 to unpack, is that enough to get something done? That's where we'll pick the conversation up next time. Right now, though, we got to take a quick break. Come back. We have This Day in History is next. Oh, where you at, Jay? 7:55 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Good stuff on the insurance front from that last segment. We're going to continue that conversation with Jay Robicheaux from Coastal Louisiana Insurance in our next segment. Now, normally in our next segment, we have This Day in History. So let's go ahead and get that done right now. All right, John.
Yeah, let's go. Starting off in 1787, where delegates gather in Philadelphia to draw up the Constitution of the United States.
They did good work.
Yeah, I think
They
so.
did good work. I think they did all right.
Yeah. 1804, Meriwether Lewis and William Clark's expedition sets out from St. Louis for the Pacific coast, commissioned by Thomas Jefferson.
I've been to St. Louis before.
Yeah.
And the hotel that I stayed at
Uh-huh.
had this giant, like, built out, is the Drury Inn that's on the Mississippi River. It's right next to the Ark.
Okay.
And it had like this giant built out, like all these statues of everything of Lewis and Clark, like looking over the course of the river and whatnot. It was actually really, really cool.
Oh, that's really
that, like
fascinating.
they celebrate them so much up there. So.
Yeah. Wow. Hey, check this out. 1945, physician John G. Hamilton injects misdiagnosed cancer patient Albert Stevens with, let's just say, a ton of plutonium without his knowledge. Stephen lives another 20 years, surviving the highest known accumulated radiation dose in any human.
Why
It's
not?
things like that that are just fascinating to me. That's like, hey, 1986, Netherlands Institute for War Documentation publishes Anne Frank's complete diary.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, hey, whoa. This day, 1973.
What do we have?
We're not going to have time to go into the whole story, but I recommend anybody look it up. It was today in 1973 that Led Zeppelin played in New Orleans. And the stories behind this concert and all the things surrounding it are just unbelievable.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yep.
1998, Seinfeld's final two-part episode, the finale, airs on NBC to 76.3 million viewers, with commercials priced at $2 million for 30 seconds.
So that would mean on this day in 1998, I was in the Ed Sullivan Theater to see a taping of the Late Show with David Letterman.
Really?
Because that's where I watched Seinfeld. Don't have time for the story right now. I'll tell it some other time.
We got to get into that later, though. Anything else on this day?
Just birthdays.
Yeah, starting with Mark Zuckerberg on my end.
Yeah.
George Lucas.
Yeah.
And let's see. I know I had one more for you. Oh, man. Where was it? Let's just go. I see Kate Blanchett. Let's go with that.
Kate Blanchett was one. And you want to add to that Rob Gronkowski.
Okay, yeah. Let's see. Who else we got? Anything else on your end?
Oh, on the birthday front?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Get the big ones there.
How about deaths here? I got two big ones, Frank Sinatra and B.B. King.
Yep.
Today.
Oh, wait. You know what? I did have two more birthdays. Bobby Darin and Robert Zemeckis. Yeah,
Okay.
B.B. King and Frank Sinatra were the two big ones on the that died today. Also, oh, you know what? My computer's frozen again. Every time I try to scroll down. Oh, here we go. Magnus Hirschfeld. He's a German physician. He was born on this day in 1868 and died on this day in 1935.
Oh,
yeah, dude died on his birthday. So.
Yeah, that's
National
fascinating.
days. What you got?
Some cheesy ones. How about we just go National Travel Insurance Claims Day?
Why not? All right. We're coming up on the top of the hour here at Talk 107.3 FM. We will break for news, traffic, and weather. On the backside, we will. Oh, by the way, that was, of course, This Day in History, presented by 5 Star Printing and Signs. 271-4096 is their phone number. 271-4096 for 5 Star Printing and Signs. Let's talk insurance with Jay Robicheaux next. Yo, brother.
Insurance. That would have been a great segue.
Yeah. Hey, can you email me whatever you needed printed and I get it done real quick?
Yep, absolutely. It's just kind of some talking points, so I don't go off on a tangent.
Oh, good.
This is one of those issues that I could go in 15 directions on, and you said with that House bill, you can call it 2 sessions.
Which one?
Easily,
Which
House
bill?
Bill 148. That's the one that I sent you the information about. It was Bill 576. You were right. And
Okay.
It got fold it in, like I said, kind of that little in the round that they like to do.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me save this. It's in Google, so I'm probably better off just downloading it as a PDF. Huh?
I guess so.
Okay. The only thing I was kind of thinking is we could start off by explaining what an insurance broker is. I do not work for carriers. I do not work for insurance. I work for myself. I think that's the thing that people need to know. Look, insurance companies, rich. Lawyers, rich. At the end of the day, the people who get hurt by high rates are the working poor. That's my
Yes.
Let's see if we can do this. If you have Wi-Fi, I think this is my issue.
Yeah, we've got one.
Yes. But I don't remember the password off the top of my head.
I think. Let me double check.
Ah, here we go. Took me a little while, but I got it. Should have it momentarily. And remind me your name again.
John.
John.
Nice
yeah,
to meet you,
Jay.
sir.
Yeah, oh, have we not met?
We might have.
Okay.
No, Alondra, the last time you were here, Alondra was my producer.
Oh, okay. Well, then.
Okay, I was gonna say, I know he rotates through them like I rotated through college girlfriends.
Oh, dang.
Well, I didn't have a lot of girlfriends. When my wife said yes, I wasn't looking at. I said we're gonna make this work because I'm terrified by the prospect.
Yeah. Hey, there you go. Shoot.
No, I'm like the farm system around here. My producers move on to bigger and better things.
Well, I mean, as a station manager, that's part of the deal, right? You got to train up the people that are going to go on the shows that people actually want to listen to. Right?
That's right. You learn how to do it on my show, and then you go someplace where someone's going to listen to you. Okay. You sent it to brian.haldane@guaranteemedia.com?
Almost certain. Like I said, I don't have great Wi-Fi, so maybe that file didn't.
Let me. Yeah, nothing yet.
All right, we're trying it another way, Brian.
Do you have this one?
Oh, here we go. Got it.
And it's G2I guest.
We'll give you that one. This one on there.
You have the password.
It's gonna be 225 Red Stick.
It's making me sign in.
Oh, okay. Oh, is it Dropbox or something?
It's Google Doc.
Oh, Google. Oh, okay.
I don't know why the PDF didn't send. Let me send it as a PDF.
Hang on. Nope. It goes right to the Google Drive sign in. We're gonna have like exactly 10 minutes. Come on over.
Radio, I don't have to worry so much about you.
Well, that's
Well, I know
Facebook
on,
Live right there.
Facebook Live, but
Yeah.
all the people that are
I
of a
appreciate it,
certain
Renee,
age
but,
probably
there's no
aren't watching on
competition here.
Facebook
Yeah.
Live
I'm
anyway.
I'm rooting
Yes.
for everybody that even came before me, so it's all good. I appreciate that though, Renee.
.806 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Hour 3 coming your way right now. Brian here with you, John LaBeouf producing. We're holding at 73 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge to start off the third hour. We got a lot of ground to cover here. We're going to talk AI with Henry Hayes in our next segment. We are going to visit with Rory Denicola from ExxonMobil and Donna Collins-Lewis as well. Before we get out of here, there's some stuff that they've got cooking that you need to know about. But before we get into any of that, with insurance being such a hot topic in the state capitol, I thought it might be a good idea to talk with an insurance broker, talk with somebody who's in the business and get a kind of a firsthand look at what's going on from his perspective, which is why we welcome back Jay Robicheaux from Coastal Louisiana Insurance. How are you, man?
Hey, Brian, thanks for having me. I'm good since I saw you at Rotary last Wednesday.
Yep.
But a whole lot has happened over the last 7 days.
Yep.
So I think it's incumbent upon us to kind of talk about what exactly is going on at the state capitol.
Yes, and there's so much ground to cover. So if we have bills left on the table when we're done, we'll just schedule to get you back in here, okay? Because I want to cover as much as what's moving. I want to start with there's a bill that would essentially put more power in the insurance commissioner's hands. Seemingly put more power in the insurance commissioner's hands, which, and I've talked with him about this before. I don't know that this does anything except potentially assigns blame if things don't go the way we wanted to.
That's one way to put it, Brian. I think the thing that's most important to keep in mind is that government is rarely the solution to the problem. There are ethical politicians, there are ethical insurance agents, and there are ethical attorneys.
Yeah.
But leaving it to someone in one of those positions to dictate what's fair and unfair is just a recipe for disaster. And that's what House Bill 148 does. Originally, 148 was a separate bill, but House Bill 576 was folded into it to essentially say that the insurance commissioner has the right to determine what's a fair market rate. And if I don't like it, well, guess what? I don't need any justification to do away with that rate or tell that carrier they can't run their business the way they want.
So this seems flawed to me, and tell me if I'm going down the wrong path here. This seems flawed to me because the insurance commissioner doesn't determine rate. Those who will sell insurance in the state determine the rate, right? I mean, if the insurance commissioner says you have to play with these rates and they're not profitable, I mean, at the end of the day, an insurance company is a business that has to make a profit. Now, it can't be exorbitant. It can't be to our detriment as those who would be policyholders. But the more you tell insurance companies to go away, the fewer insurance companies there are to choose from. The fewer insurance companies there are to choose from, the higher our rate's going to be because competition lowers price everywhere.
Well, Brian, the way I look at it is like this. You can't have fair markets without having free markets. When the insurance commissioner can arbitrarily tell a business how they can set their rates, that's not a free market.
Right.
And so one of the big controversies, I guess you could say, in this bill is the insurance commissioner has some very vague language about what he can and can't do in fair and unfair markets to determine if rates are going to be good for Louisiana consumers or not. I'm of the opinion that the market should determine what rates are good, and our insurance market is horrible.
Yeah. Why is our insurance market horrible?
Well, Brian, there's a lot of reasons, and I don't want to be one of these guys that beats up on trial attorneys or talks about how somebody in another industry is wrong. The reality of it is you'll hear a lot of back and forth, a lot of ad hominem attacks right now on people's character between attorney-funded groups, insurance-funded groups, politicians on one side of this issue and politicians on the other. And this is a bipartisan CF, Brian.
Yeah. And the attacks, I don't think, get us anywhere. We've seen that before when we've tried to go down the tort reform path in the past, where if you're attacking one side versus the other, it's not the players in the game who are doing wrong. Everybody's playing by the set of rules that have been established for the game. What we're trying to do is change the rules to the game.
I would agree. And to go back to something that you alluded to, I don't think that anybody introduced this bill with ill will, with the intent to blame anyone. However, what it's turning into is if rates don't go down, who has to shoulder the burden for it and who has political cover to get reelected next go round?
Right. So I'm just taking that is your opinion that that's an unfair burden on the commissioner.
I think it's an unfair burden on the commissioner. And I think if you read the legislation, it's very unclear. And at this point, I think it may have been purposely muddied up for the very fact that people want the ability to say, rates didn't go down, it's not my fault.
Mm-hmm.
Brian, there's a saying in recovery circles, half measures availed us nothing. Well, Louisiana needs an insurance recovery in a big way, and we can't settle for half measures anymore.
The continue on that. How do we get past those?
Brian, if I had the answer to that question, I would probably be governor. The reality is there's no magic bullet. There's no panacea. What we've got to do is a few different things. Number one, I think we've got to rein in tort reform. Like I said, I'm not here to disparage anyone or blame any bad actors, but I just find it odd that the governor needed to get away right before session on a private jet with a couple of injury attorneys to figure out how to make insurance fair in our state.
All right, so, and this is one of the reasons why I had you in today was because I'm tired of talking to people outside of the insurance business about how the insurance business works. I want to talk with somebody inside the insurance business about it. I mean, you get a better look at, you get a better description of the menu from the chef, right?
Well, I think that's fair, although sometimes I feel more like a line cook.
Walk down that path. Yes, we got 4 minutes left. Walk down that path because your role here locally in this whole equation is.
Well, that's a great question, Brian. As a broker, I do not work for an insurance carrier.
Right.
I also don't work for trial attorneys. I work for my clients who are the policy holders in the state of Louisiana who are looking for fair and affordable coverage.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that I can go out to the marketplace and talk to any carrier that may, or in many cases, are not willing to offer coverage to my clients to find something that's going to be a reasonable price, that's going to be fair coverage, and that's going to make sure that if they need insurance, that they are protected.
What are the trickle-down effects of some of the bills that went through, let's say, Judicial Committee A yesterday, or this 148? What are the trickle-down effects in your job and your role?
That's a great question. Brian, at the end of the day, in the free enterprise system, businesses can choose where they choose to do business. Carriers are not doing business in Louisiana. When I'm quoting homeowners insurance, I usually have a couple of carriers to choose from.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in other states that we do business, Texas, I may have a dozen carriers that are quality carriers that are willing to do business in that state. Why? Well, there's a lot of reasons for that, but the end result that I see when I'm talking to people is I don't want Louisiana Citizens, but there's nothing else out there. Citizens is the insurer of last resort for people who aren't familiar with that.
Mm-hmm.
And I've literally heard politicians say that they would be okay if the majority of citizens in Louisiana were covered by the Louisiana Citizens Property Insurance Program. As a small government guy, that really bothers me.
Yeah. Well, but as an insurance broker, I would imagine you would have the same reaction.
Well, Brian, I get paid a percentage of the premium that my clients pay. Louisiana Citizens is fairly non-competitive, and the rates are going to be high.
Right.
I make more money selling a Louisiana Citizens policy, but it's not right for my clients.
Mm-hmm.
It's not right for our business. And the most important thing is good business says that you want happy customers, and nobody in Louisiana is happy with their insurance rates right now.
All right, we're gonna get you back on to talk a few individual bills along the way. But give me an overall grade of where we're at in this session. What kind of action you've seen up until now, comparatively speaking, just the level of attention being paid and the job getting done.
Yeah, Brian. Well, I'm going to give us an I for incomplete.
Okay.
I think there are a lot of bills that have been proposed that could be very impactful. My biggest fear is that they get watered down or they get killed in committee
Mhm.
because somebody doesn't want to attach their name to something that's either going to be A, unpopular with voters, or B, keep the checks from coming from the trial attorneys and the plaintiff's bar.
All right. About a week or so from now, we'll have a much clearer picture of what will approach the finish line. The governor's already said, you put it on my desk, I'll sign it. So we can work under that assumption. So as we get closer to the end of the session, let's get you back on.
Sounds like a plan, Brian. Thanks for having me.
He is Jay Robicheaux from Coastal Louisiana Insurance. We always appreciate the time. Quick break. We're moving over to AI, talking with Henry Hayes next. That went fast. That was, you and I need more room to run. I need to put you in a longer segment.
Well, and that's the thing. I'm trying to hit so many talking points because this is such an issue that has so many facets.
Yeah, but like it's to even dive into homeowners right now, it's like it's got to be laser focus on the car insurance right now. It's just because when we cross those streams, that's when everybody's like, oh, let's only pay attention. Like, everything that moves the attention away from the Morris part. As soon as we move the attention away, that's when they just swoop in.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And I could have gone on a little bit more about, my feelings on Cameron Henry, who was also on that hunting trip.
Yeah.
And the reality of it is, well, when people make claims, we want it to be fair. Everybody wants it to be fair. The reality is when you don't have personal injury claims at $5 million, that creates maybe one or two outside verdicts paid for by every insurance company. Was that? That is good to hear because I know that it was supposed to get killed in committee yesterday.
Let me go back and look it up. I'm pretty sure.
Well, I have not looked at anything since
Emily should have
Monday. I think that will pass, and I should have mentioned comparative fault. I think that's so important. And then two other ones that I'm big on are loser pays and if you don't have coverage, no pay, no play.
That one, no pay, no play, cleared due day. Housing presumption repeal, cleared due day, and comparative fault, modified comparative fault.
Yeah.
Due day. So,
Well, and I'll tell you what is another interesting is 214 in the Senate. Nobody thought it had a shot. It's the bill that puts on the ballot whether we want to continue to elect an insurance commissioner or if we want an appointed insurance commissioner. The people on the left are all for an appointed insurance commissioner. So am I, but our reasoning is totally different. The reason that I'm for an appointed insurance commissioner is I think you're an expert in the industry. Tim is the first expert, whether you love him, hate him, or otherwise, that actually spent a career in the insurance business.
Tim Donovan was going to his politician.
Well,
Tim Temple's an insurance guy.
Jim Donovan was an attorney, then a politician,
Yeah.
then an insurance guy. What can I win?
Right.
I get it.
Let me get Henry over here.
Here, well, look, brought y'all a couple little
Appreciate that.
gimmies.
And I will.
I can't give away the nice stuff like the attorneys, but
Hey, that works. Bottle openers, heck yeah.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Nice meeting you.
All right, brother.
Coming over today?
I will see you unless if I'm in committee. I'll tell you this. There's no way I'm sitting in committee for more than an hour or two.
No, nobody can. You're right here, Henry. Oh man.
How long you been here now?
I was originally hired in 2011 when we launched Talk 1073. I was here for 3 years and they let me go for a short period of time, brought me back in 2017. So current stint 2017 and now, but overall a little over a decade combined.
You did some stuff with 104.5, like handing.
I was I was Moscona's producer for
That's
3
right.
years.
That's
So 819 Talk 1073 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along, as often happens in the third hour. Things begin leaving the rails. We begin running over, so we're late right now. It's time to talk a little bit of AI because there is so much movement on so many different levels and so many different platforms. How do you get a grasp on it? How do you make sure you're making the most of it if you're not just locking yourself in a closet to hide from it? Wanted to bring on Henry Hayes to talk about this. How are you, man?
I'm good. When Brian Haldane calls, I say yes.
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that greatly. Let's start with the backstory here, because with AI's development, you diving into this world. How did you get so like magnetized to becoming the guru here?
A very long story, very short. Driving down Seagan, we had just sold a company I helped start. I looked to my left, and the Blockbuster video store on Seagan was boarded up. Remember that?
Yeah.
Whether Essen or College or Seagan. And I thought that's weird. And so I went to Harvard and studied under a guy named Clayton Christensen, who had coined the phrase disruptive innovation. Emerging technology markets don't understand. New business model, disruption. So that was over 10 years ago. So when I got bit by that bug, it was that's what I'll do the rest of my life, meaning these emerging technologies that are coming way faster than we think.
Mm-hmm.
And my thesis was the market's going to need a guide. And so that's what we served as.
Okay. So as a guide, there's going to be a number of different paths to guide people down, because AI means so many different things to so many different people. For a big old chunk of people, it's just Chat GPT.
Sure.
Right. But there are literally millions of other avenues here. Walk us through, from a business owner's perspective, what they should be on the lookout for and how to navigate.
Doing a lot more with a lot less.
Okay.
So Brian, this morning when you got up to come to the studio, you got on your horse and your buggy and you made way over here, right?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
You got in your car because we have automobiles. But in 1908, before Henry Ford rolled off the first Model T, that's how we got transported. And then something called the quadricycle showed up and the game was changed. We're going to look back in pretty short order, I'd say 3 to 5 years, and say, can you believe we asked people to do that? And we're talking about decades upon decades of things that constructs of jobs that, research and replying to emails and your own scheduling and your calendar and all these other things that the younger generation won't believe that we ask people to do.
Right.
That's a great way to start. And guess what? That stuff's usually boring, mundane, and tedious.
So I love that you started with the Blockbuster reference, because that's the perfect side-by-side example. I've got 3 kids. Trying to explain to them that we would go to a store to rent a movie, and they're like, what do you mean rent the movie? Like, you physically brought home, it's a VHS or DVD. Yeah, it's you physically brought it home, and then you had to bring it back, and they have no concept of that.
Well, and don't forget, that same company dared you not to rewind when it was a VHS tape.
Absolutely.
And they would penalize you.
Look, hey, as a former assistant manager of a Blockbuster, as a guy who's finished 4 volumes of the Star Maker series, still have those books somewhere. I've got the blue polo somewhere as well.
Right.
Standing there rewinding videos was a pain in the butt. So yes, please rewind. But that's the right comparison, though, is because if you ask a graduating senior today about that technology, they're going to be completely unaware. Things like dialing a phone, rolling down a window, all these things are long since gone. So how quickly are we going to have to adapt? You said 3 to 5 years. Within that time, though, it's going to be grades, levels.
Sure. So yesterday we had a big domino. I called it the Tom Hanks moment for AI. Microsoft laid off 7,000 people, 3% of their workforce. And primarily the reasons were a bulk of those jobs, humans won't do that Microsoft ever again. And they've developed what are called AI agents to do that. And so that was the really first big domino to fall, to say, wait a minute, if Microsoft, one of the world's biggest companies that has one of the biggest market caps in the world, does that, who's next? So, and then it's a competitive thing where if you're competing with humans doing a task and they are using AI, you can't compete.
Got Henry Hayes with us. We're talking AI for the next couple minutes or so about where business owners should be going, where employees should be going to make sure they're staying ahead of the curve as well. Henry, viewed through that lens, it would be very easy to get very cynical very fast and say, it's just the fight's over, we're going to lose to the robots. Like, what can we be doing along the way?
So I think a lot of that, your question is mindset. Do we fear change? And most of us do. That's just true. Our brains are trying to keep us safe. So you got to get on the other side of the fear. That's number one. Number two, if you want to ask what keeps me up at night, it's 2 things. It's one, who are making the laws that are governing what you just said?
Yeah.
Frankly, I don't have a lot of faith in, let's say, Washington today to do that. And number 2, it's the energy. So if Brian Haldane searches best pizza Baton Rouge on Google and he searches best pizza on ChatGPT, the GPT search is 10 times the power consumption. So we don't need like twice the power we have now. We need more like 30x.
Okay.
Power. So those are the 2 things that keep me up.
The best pizza Baton Rouge. How do we know we're getting the right answers?
You don't. And that's why the Google search stuff is It's not dead, but it's dying.
Right.
Because that SEO they paid, well, they paid the most. So do you know it's the best? So that's where LLMs are stepping into that void.
The large language models,
Uh-huh.
when they step into that void, where do they get their information from to build? I mean, it's all output is based off of input.
Yep.
So how are they accumulating?
So that's trillions with a T bits of text data that those LLMs are training on year after year after year, and they're retraining to get the maximum output. AI is a prediction machine. It's trying to predict what Brian wants it to do.
Mhm.
And so the more you use it, the better it's going to get. And yeah, that's how it works today.
Within within personal use, what technology should we be adapting to? ChatGPT is one, obviously. Where else do we need to head?
Yeah. So for those who want to kind of get out of the kids table and the chat GPT usage to go to the big boy table at Thanksgiving, a few things. Number one, if you do a lot of work in meetings or Zoom or, things over technology, get Otter or Fireflies. I can't remember what I had for breakfast last Monday. My Firefly assistant does.
Yeah.
He's matched directly to my calendar.
Mhm.
He can make schedule appointments for me. He can accept for me. I can ask him, who did I talk to on December 31st last year? He'll tell me. So that's number one. Number two, I would say writing. If you write for a living or emails, you've got to run this stuff by AI because it's going to do it better, right? You should never stare at a blinking cursor ever again.
So yes, as a jumping off point, absolutely. But where AI is right now in that space was the old Ronald Reagan phrase, trust but verify.
Sure.
Go back and proof to be
100%.
sure.
Yep.
Yeah, don't let ChatGPT run the game. Let it lead you.
And by the way, it's not just that. It's Perplexity, Claude, Llama. There's about a dozen really good substantive models. It's not just ChatGPT. So I would encourage your listeners, try the other ones.
Mhm.
Personally, at Disrupt Ready, my shop, we use Google's Deep Research 2.5. We think it's the best in the market.
Okay, tell me a little bit more about it.
Well, Google was ready before OpenAI was,
Yeah.
but OpenAI launched early in November of 22. Google has more data. They've spent more time on it. It's got a deep reasoning, meaning it'll take a little bit longer, but the outcomes you'll find typically are better.
Let's go back to the business owner real quick. Let's go back to the employee of the business.
Sure.
And the cynicism, the mindset, the fear. Where do we learn and who do we trust in learning? Because you don't just like open up Google, you don't just open up any of the the LLMs and just take to it like a duck to water.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a learning curve here.
So it starts with education in a non-technical manner. That's what we do at Disrupt Ready, meaning you don't have to be a coder, but you do need to understand how this works, where it comes from, who's doing what in your industry.
Mhm.
And then that allows you to make a better choice. I'll give you an example. Company 3 blocks from here used to take them 3 days a week with one full person to do their payroll. Now it takes them 20 minutes. Wow. And now they're paying their people every week, not every other week.
Mhm.
So they've entered a competitive environment where if Brian works for the company, he's getting paid every week, and I work for every 2 weeks, and we're at the bar, and I go, hey, I want to be paid every week.
And what I like about that example is I don't think anybody lost their job in what you just told me.
Not only did they not lose their job, the person that was doing that, do you think that she really wanted to crunch all these different variables to make sure the payroll got right?
Right.
No, it's tedious and it's boring.
And how important is that? Moving the tedious and boring to where it can be not trivialized, you're not overlooking it, but it's in a place you can still trust it.
Well, look, let me ask your listeners in the car right now. How many of you are going to go to your office and connect to Wi-Fi? All of you. Nobody's hardline connected anymore, right?
Right.
Why? Because the innovation's here. This is the same thing. It's like the longer you push back and don't find a way to make it work for you, then that's on you.
It's the running phrase around here has been is if you don't use it, you lose to it. So it's and you brought up something when we were talking during the break a minute ago. It's not necessarily you lose to it, but you lose to someone else who is using it.
Exactly. And the fun starts, Brian, when I think I told you, what if we could in real time simulcast Brian Haldane in Spanish?
Can we do that?
We can do that. And so, look, there's a lot more Spanish speaking folks in South Louisiana, New Orleans, Baton Rouge, along I-10. Would it make sense for this company to do that? Of course it would.
What else can we do? I mean, what give me some other examples we all,
Yep.
that we might not be tapping into yet.
So I could take your wonderful, handsome producer there, spend 10 minutes with him, and we could video clone him. Meaning I could show you a video of him and you would know that that's not him. Now, every woman I tell that is creepy. I get it. But when you can find the right use cases, it gets less creepy. Physicians. We want more of our physicians, not less. So what if you could get a detailed, in non-medical jargon, follow-up of your appointment? on your cell
Okay,
phone.
so how does an AI clone differ from a deep fake, and how do we make sure that that's not being abused?
So it's called stitching, and I think the customers will let the market know whether it's being abused or not. Because look, that's the irony, right, Brian? The technology is going to do what it's told to do.
Right.
The humans are going to screw it up.
Yes.
Somebody's going to try and beat us over the head with a deep fake and call it real. Well, that's the human. The tech's doing what it's told to do.
Yes. Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, let's all remember Shaggy said it wasn't me. So that's the scenario we're trying to avoid, right? No, not that Shaggy. The rapper.
The rapper.
Yeah, it wasn't me.
All right.
Got about a minute left with Henry Hayes. Where can folks go to learn a little bit more? Because I feel like there's so much to learn. So two-part question, and it's the last minute. Where can folks go to learn more, and how should they decide where to start learning?
Great question. So one, you got to get an LLM account. They're free to sign up for. Play with it. Write a Shakespearean poem in Eminem's voice to your wife on her birthday, whatever. Like, be creative, and then get more and more interested in what's going on. I'm at Henry Hayes, Hays on LinkedIn. That's the easiest way to find me. Our company's website is disruptready.com. We specialize in taking companies that say, Brian, we don't even know what we don't know. Educate them.
Right.
And then give them a strategy.
Okay, so we are at the point where we don't know what we don't know. When we reconvene, I want to have you back on because there's so much to talk about here. When we reconvene, I want to start going down individual paths and get a lot more granular, a lot more specific.
But one more thing, Trump's visit to the Middle East,
yeah,
I'm not talked about. That's all AI, meaning he is doing deals in the sidelight. It's China, and it's that area of the world that are leading the way with America in artificial intelligence. Mark my words.
Okay.
Mark the tape.
Right there. There's the follow-up. All right. Henry, we always appreciate the time, man. We will talk to you soon. Running late for news, traffic, weather. We'll continue with X on next. Dude, that was fantastic. That's so freaking fast. Anytime. I love a fast-paced conversation.
Sorry, I didn't know you were
John, Henry, John.
Anytime, man. Let me know.
Okay, love to do it, and we'll start making it issue specific next time. I realized this was vague and like all over the place, but
I can have like 2 of them or whatever. I mean, we'll bring video and stuff. Whatever. Just let me know when you need.
Good deal. Appreciate it.
See you guys.
Good to meet you. Oh, by the way, I might have a lead on John Foster. Got a text yesterday asking if I wanted him on the show.
He's a good friend of ours.
Really? So, trying to track
On
him
that
down.
side.
Would love to have him on the show. I understand everything's got to go through all the proper American Idol channels and whatnot. But
Yeah,
excellent.
his
Thank you.
his schedule is very much owned right now. They were filming at the Denmark camp last night. Big camp they have on Pigeon.
Where?
On Pigeon.
Pigeon? Where's Pigeon? Where's
South Plaquemine. But they were filming all of them last night. They were bought a house from his family.
Really? I mean, we might table this discussion and have that
My
one.
daughter worked at Benoit's. That was her first job.
No kidding. Okay.
That's my side of the river.
You cannot go 2 steps without crossing streams around here.
That's very true. And how you see him on TV, he is just that genuine and sweet. Were we done by 9?
We're done by 8:50.
Awesome, because I got to roll out for. It's just a little history.
The Love Impact Coalition.
Phenomenal organization.
Thank you much. So glad to have y'all on board.
I'm excited.
We are too. We are thrilled.
Yeah, that bridge. So I had to go to the old bridge. Ridiculous.
My wife says my new logo, if you're watching on Facebook Live, looks like the Jurassic Park logo.
It does.
It does. Now that you said it,
Damn it.
You just need the dinosaur.
I know.
you need to get rid of the maroon. It's just the maroon.
But the station's colors are red and white. So
We'll make it more red than
That makes
maroon.
more, yeah.
It's kind of maroonish.
Kind of orangey.
I can lighten that up. Well, no. As soon as she said it, I can't unsee it. You can't unsee it. I'm like, same.
Oh gosh.
That is so funny. She said that.
But we
It's
went
funny
through
how
all these.
people put things together. Like
We
that.
went through all these logos, and that was the best one.
Oh, wow. You pulled it up.
Somebody's a Jurassic Park subconscious fan, and
You can put a pelican in there, the state bird.
Yeah.
Dinosaur.
but no, that looks like a Tyrannosaurus or whatever flying.
Pterodactyl.
Pterodactyl. There you go. I didn't have a boy. I don't know what they are. That is hilarious. I think you should.
Oh, they're gonna get.
Oh my
you for
God.
copyright.
I think you need to put the bird in there or the dinosaur in there just for to make it funny.
Yes. Yeah. That's That's
Brian World, Haldane World.
I wonder
See,
if we
that's that
replaced
PR
it.
working all
If
the
we
time.
replaced it, if anybody would even notice. Like, yeah. Damn it! We went through so many different possible logos, and this was by far like the best one. Like, you got the city skyline in the back. Me and two other people picked it. Yes.
Y'all must be Jurassic Park.
Were they
fans.
men?
Do what?
Were they men?
Yeah. No. Well, one other man, one other woman.
Okay.
So, but it was unanimous. We all agreed. This is where we're going.
Now I need you to ask them if they watched Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
'Cause I bet
100%.
they all did.
Hey, John, just play hers again. Thanks.
That is hilarious. It's very funny. No, you can't unsee it now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so Facebook already heard. So
Last week, the Latangela, my daughter was like, Mama, why didn't you sing your favorite song? I said, I didn't know she was starting, like how she started it.
Oh, she starts right in there. You know, you don't even
She
know.
goes,
she
here we
started.
are with Rory with Exxon. Tell us your favorite song. And I went, and she goes, okay, I guess not. And next.
She keeps it moving real fast.
Oh, completely. I could have. Emily goes, why didn't you sing? I'm like, well, because I didn't know we were starting.
8:38. Talk 107.3 FM at WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Man, I say rolling. We've been moving quick today, y'all, and we're not slowing down anytime soon. The folks over at ExxonMobil have a free clinic coming up at the end of this month. Joining us now to talk about this from Exxon, we've got Rory Denicola, and from the Love Impact Coalition, we've got Donna Collins-Lewis. How y'all doing this morning?
Good.
Glad to have you. It's been a while since I've seen you. How you been? Good.
Been good, great.
We'll get to the Love Impact Coalition in just a minute, but let's run down what's going on May 31st.
Well, actually, we are the sponsor. This is the organization that is the brains behind the wonderful free clinic.
Okay, then let's move over to
Yes, let
move
Donna
over to
tell you
Donna.
all about it.
What's going down on May 31st?
So on May 31st, we are hosting our first clinic here in 2025. We've been doing this work since 2018, providing free vision, dental, and medical to anyone in the city of Baton Rouge or surrounding Baton Rouge on a first come, first served basis. No ID, no insurance, nothing required. Just show up.
Okay. So vision and dental, pretty straightforward. Yes. Medical, how in depth, how thorough are we looking here?
We've done medical exams. We've done mammograms before. We've done physicals. We've done pap smears. So just an array of services in the area of medical.
The actually, I say vision and dental are pretty straightforward. Dental is actually more than just a screening.
Dental is one of the. This is not actually a health fair. This is actually a health clinic.
Yeah.
We definitely want you to come and take a look at it. We're going to have 14 dental chairs there. We'll have 7 hygienists. So we'll be actually doing fillings, screenings, extractions. We'll be doing exams for people. So it's a real intense clinic.
Very, very good. Now going back to the vision, that's also one step further than you would normally think. It's not just an eye test and send you on your way.
Right.
There's the potential to follow up there.
There's a potential to follow. The whole purpose of the clinic is to follow up. We want people to come to the clinic. It's a one-day event, but we try to connect people that attend the clinic with long, ongoing services, so they're not just there for one day. Vision people are able to come in. They're able to get a free eye exam. They can pick out their own frames. They get prescription eyeglasses, which are mailed to them within 4 to 6 weeks after the clinic.
Let's back up a little bit and talk about the Love Impact Coalition, because y'all's work ties into, brings us back around to where we're going to be on May 31st. Tell me a little bit about Love Impact Coalition.
So this work started actually in 2018. I worked for a developer here in Baton Rouge. He was out of Boise, Idaho. He invited me to Boise in 2017 to see a clinic. Came back to Baton Rouge and said, we just got to put this together here in Baton Rouge. And these are great. We need to do this in Baton Rouge.
We got a lot to compare between us and Boise.
Yeah. Housing. So my background is in housing development for low income families.
Okay.
Yes. So that's how I got
see, I know your background from the Metro Council, so that's where I know you from. What do we do with low income housing then? Is that, I mean, I know that's a separate topic for a separate day.
Topic. So that's how I got connected with the developer out of Boise who was actually doing the free clinics there.
Okay. Walking from their clinic to our clinic, the side-by-side comparison, are we just basically replicating what they do, or are we taking things a few steps further?
We've taken a few steps further. Their clinics were small in size, didn't serve a lot of people. Boise is a small community where the clinics were hosted. Our first clinic was here in Baton Rouge, actually at the Mosquito Rodent place up for Harding. The building hadn't opened yet. It was brand new. We were the first people in the clinic. 3-day clinic. We served over 1,500 people in 3 days.
That is incredible. Incredible. How many do you expect to serve on Saturday, May 31st?
Probably around 400 or 500. Every clinic we've done at least 400 to 500, and had to turn people away at every clinic.
I mean, and that's over the course of it's
from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Yes. Oh, speaking of, how do you put together all the medical professionals that help do this?
So again, we've been doing this since 2018. We just start asking around the community, asking people that we knew, professionals that we knew. Social media, tagging people, going to hospitals, meeting with elected officials, meeting with dental professionals, medical professionals, reaching out to just people that we knew in the community.
Do you have everyone you need?
Have everyone we need. So we actually have had this team that's working with us now since 2018. A lot of the same people have returned to help. Lots of volunteers. We could not do this without volunteers.
Rory, how did Exxon get folded into this?
We actually hosted a focus group that her partner, Nicole, was part of, and said, you know what about Exxon being part of this? And I met with them. When you hear Donna and Nicole talk, you can't not want to be part of it. This is in our backyard, our community, and part of Baton Rouge. And we were like, sign us up.
And this is just, I mean, y'all over at ExxonMobil do, when you talk about stepping off your property into the surrounding community, there's very few things you'll shy away from, but it seems like you do gravitate towards things that show results.
And that is exactly what they did. They showed me the results. I mean, 500 people helped in one day. And like she said, it's not just walking in and taking, oh, we can do this, or we can just sit you here and do. They go through the whole day, and they actually, okay, if your blood pressure is not working right now, let's get it down so that you can see the dentist. Because some of these people might not have ever had access to healthcare.
Right.
The things that you, me, and Donna all have access to. And so they might be a little nervous. And so let's put you on this side. Let's get you down. Let's get your blood pressure working, and then we'll go see the dentist.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just to hear them talk to you and hear about it and the metrics they provide and the results. You can't not want to be a part of it. And it's exciting. We're ready. We have volunteers, and something exciting that we're doing this year. We have what we call employee resource groups, Brian, and we have our goal. It's our global organization for the advancement of Latinos. And we're going to have them out as interpreters, because as you can imagine, we have some English second language attendings, and it's kind of hard to interpret what the doctor is saying, especially if they're bringing a child to try to interpret what the doctor is saying to a parent. And so we're going to have some interpreters out there to be able to help, and it's something that they have a need for, and I'm feeling that need as well.
Donna, Rory mentioned some of the metrics here. Let's talk numbers, and then I want to talk just an individual story as well. Overall numbers, what does y'all's impact look like as far as it just outcomes are concerned?
Mhm. So outcomes, we're serving between 400 and 500 people. Like Rory just mentioned, we have some people that come in with medical conditions that they're not even aware of.
Right.
People coming in for eye exams, their diabetes is out of control. So we can't serve people sometimes. We have to put them in what we call the holding area. But our outcomes from our clinic are wonderful. If we cannot serve someone because of medical history or because of medical things that they're going through for the day, we refer them, we connect them. We don't want them to just walk out of the door and say, we couldn't do anything to help you. So our goal, again, at the end of the day, is to connect everybody that walks through the clinic with long-term healthcare needs because we're only there for one day.
One of the biggest, I would imagine, one of the biggest hurdles here is people are very malleable. It's if you're physically hurting, you can adapt to the pain. If you've got something that you don't know that you have, there's no reason to worry about it. The vision services here, and that might sound like one of the smaller end of the equation, but you don't know how bad your vision is until you can see.
Exactly.
Right? You don't know how bad your limp is until your limp is fixed. You don't know, you don't know until you know. How tough is it to get people over that hurdle to say, you need to come down here. You do need to check things out. Worst case scenario, you walk out the same you walked in.
No, we don't have a problem with anybody showing up at the
Okay,
clinic.
good.
They come. We encourage people to come early in the morning. Our lines are long. We try to tell people that it's just as if you had a dental appointment. You don't go in the dental office and you're out in 10 minutes, especially if you're having an extraction or if you're having a filling done. So it is a real triage. You go in, you get triage. They check your blood pressure. They make sure that you can get services before you come in. Some people have found out at the clinics that they're diabetic. They had no idea what their conditions are. We go in and we find somebody that comes in to say, I need my tooth pulled. No, you need a root canal, or you need something deeper than what we could do. You have a wisdom tooth. We don't do it because of surgery on that day.
Okay.
We connect and we refer people somewhere else. So we try to make sure everybody that walks through that door receives some type of service. Even if we can't provide it, we want to connect them with someone that can.
So what's coming up on May 31st at the Raising Cane's River Center, going through the St. Louis Street entrance, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. What's coming up there as a free clinic? When it comes to those referrals, how do they continue to be helped?
Well, we the other thing that we didn't mention that we have at the clinic, we have resource providers.
Okay.
So we have those medical providers,
Good,
your
good.
Care South, your AmeriHealth Caritas, Louisiana Healthcare Connections. So we have those providers that are there that we can connect people right there when they're at the clinic. We don't send you out the door and say, hope you can find somebody. We try at the clinic to have those resources, tables there. So while people are waiting, we encourage people to go around to the resource providers, the vendors, connect with someone. And then after they receive their services at the clinic, if we know that there's something that they need long-term, if someone comes, we've had people to call and say, I have 19 teeth that need pulling. Of course, we can't pull 19 teeth at the clinic on one day. But we try to do what we can to get them out of pain if they're in pain. And then we refer them to another provider that can continue the work that they need.
Yeah, because Donna did mention there's even a pharmacy on site. Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So they're able to fill that. And the number of volunteers, Brian.
Yeah.
So while we have people standing in line, volunteers are taking care of we have fans, make sure if it's hot, if it's been a clinic in the cold, hot chocolate. The number of volunteers is amazing as well, taking care of everybody.
Does this look like a full-on
It
episode
is.
of MASH?
It is, literally.
I mean, am I going to see Hawkeye and Trapper if I go out there? Okay.
We'll be Hawkeye and Trapper. We'll fill in
It will
those
be
spots.
running around, a bunch of little ants running
Oh, yeah.
around in the lime green color, trying to take care of everybody. But we want to make sure that those people are taken care of, so that they, they're getting the services they need because they haven't before.
And then those providers too, some of the resources or people that we've had in the past to help us with Louisiana Healthcare Connections, one of our major sponsors over the years. They'll come in and provide lunch for every person that's in the clinic. All of the
Awesome.
patients, they'll provide, like Rory said, the hot chocolate, popsicles, raincoats. Even if they think it's going to rain, they'll provide a raincoat.
Incredible stuff. It's going on Saturday, May 31st, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. at the Raising Cane's River Center. You're going to want to enter on the St. Louis Street side. Don't get mixed up in the bowlers over there.
Yeah, we'll have signage.
Yeah, awesome stuff. Donna Collins-Lewis, Rory Denicola, thank you all so much for a couple minutes this morning.
Thank you.
We've got Your Money Now coming your way in just a second. Do need to remind you, Coach Beth Torina and the LSU softball team, NCAA Regional coming to you from Tiger Park. LSU will play roughly 4:30 on Friday. You'll hear it right here on Talk 107.3. Here comes Your Money Now.
Oh, yeah. Good.
I would hate to play cards with y'all.
Why?
Because y'all got this like real smooth. Y'all got this real smooth.
They better. They better.
You know they were cheating.
They better know what they're doing. Otherwise, we'd be screwed.
Okay.
This, we're like
You ready?
that.
This
It
is
gets
1
serious
minute.
when I'm like this.
This is half of a circle, so 30 seconds. This is 1/4 of a square, 15 seconds, 1/4 of a minute.
Yeah.
They would use that in spades, though. You know that. It would mean something else.
They would figure out something.
Yeah.
You got one spade? No, I have 0 spades.
You can play spades against me because I don't know what to do. Thank you, Brian.
Rory, you have one of these?
I do.
You do?
Oh,
Okay.
yes.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah. No, I don't have
Hey,
like the
how-
smaller booklet. Let me take that. So I
How'd
can
the
make sure I have
reception go
it.
the other? I had to bail early because I had to go.
Low attendance.
Damn,
We had to move it because of it being moved so many times. That location is not a good location.
lobby.
Not for compared to the Capitol Park Museum. Because they could just walk.
Yeah,
I mean, just not.
I've been finding more and more events. They've been tightening up attendance.
This is a bad year for events.
Yeah.
Like this weather is stuff.
So we always do it. Session normally starts, and we do it the first Monday. The first Monday was the day after Easter.
Yeah.
And so then we had to move it, and then it got moved for a second time, and so we couldn't get the Capitol Park Museum, so then we had to do Lobby, and usually legislators
See,
just
next
walk.
year, y'all need to book 2 days automatically.
And see, and
Thank you. Hello.
Normally-
I had nothing to do with it.
normally I will go to about a dozen different things throughout the session. I've been to 2.
Yeah.
And I've been like yesterday. I was told I couldn't come to one. I'm too old. Forum 225.
Yeah.
Did she tell you? No, it wasn't me.
No.
That's her age.
We rolled.
That's her
Taylor
age.
in our sales office was going. He had me sign up as a guest to go along with him. And then they went back and it's like, no, he's home for 44.
Hey.
Sorry, I don't know the password to your
Hey.
treehouse.
It's not the treehouse. When you hit it, the treehouse.
Uh-huh.
No, what's going on here?
Uh-huh.
Let me bring form up in here. I'm scrap.
No. I'm too old for you to talk to. No.
We are
trouble.
you know what?
Wow.
Form ARARP.
No,
That's right.
You know what? That's why
I
you
get
know.
emailers.
You know that's why you logo is Jurassic World.
There's a lot of mics in here.
That was awesome.
I'm just saying. It's
Yeah.
gonna make sense now.
Yeah. That's fair.
I got to go. I got to be on.
Oh,
You gonna get out of y'all head. Look,
Awesome.
I'm gonna pray about
Thank
the
you.
logo. I'm gonna pray about. I ain't gonna
Thank you, Myra.
Appreciate it.
She's the only one that gets away with that, by the way.
I
I
love
love
it.
her.
Love it.
Fill the mics.
Got it.
856 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. We've got so much more to do before we get out of here, but I do need to take a quick second to shout out State Senator Caleb Klein. Peter sent over a couple of pics. Looks like there's a huge standstill on the old bridge. I know our traffic report covers interstates first, but it looks like the old bridge. Senator Klein Peter sent this over, I guess 20 minutes ago was when he sent it to me, so I don't know if it's still there, but based off of the pics that he sent, folks just wasn't moving. Straight up standstill. So if you're in it, you already know about it. If you're not, you might want to redirect, come up one, and then hop on the new bridge to come on over. I'm supposed to tell you about Matherns right here, and I need to keep this quick because we do have one more story to get to. If you have not yet downloaded the Matherns app, I can't help you. Really, I can't help you. If you have not yet downloaded the Matherns Rewards app, what are you even doing? Like, you earn cash towards more groceries every time you shop. You get access to the deals of the week, the coupons every single week. It's always a fresh deal. And look, it's not always like backbreaker deals. It's not always like knock down the door, like a showcase showdown from the Price is Right deals. It's simple stuff that helps out your grocery bill to make things just a little bit easier. Things like a Red Baron pizza for $2.99. That's $1 off. But easy peasy, right? You know, at the end of the day, when it comes to making dinner for the kids, sometimes you need to go that easy route. You need that quick answer. That's where Matherns just got you covered. And of course, you get access to the weekly ad every week as well, where I can tell you right now, T-bone steaks are $9.99 a pound. That's fresh. That's brand new in today's ad. Pork loin chops, $1.99 a pound. You get access to all of it when you have the Matherns Rewards app, and it's good at all 3 locations. Downtown on 3rd, Nicholson Gateway Shopping Center, and on Highland, just west of Kenilworth. That's Matherns. So, Senate Committee Jude approves 2 tort reform bills that supporters say will help in the effort to lower insurance rates. One of the bills would reduce the payout an insured driver would receive if injured in the crash. The other bill, heading to the Senate floor, would limit the payout for an injured driver that has been found to be 51% or more at fault in an accident. New Orleans Senator Gary Carter voted against the bill because he says there's no guarantee this legislation would lower rates.
Even if it's just 30%, you owe me 30% of the harm that you've caused. This is taking that right of way without any guarantee that the people in Louisiana are going to receive reduced or lower insurance rates of any sort.
There are no guarantees of anything, Senator Carter. There are no guarantees of any of it along the way. Senator Carter has 6 bills this session. Just taking a look at a few of them, one of his bills would create a special district for the Algiers Development District. Well, can you guarantee that we're going to see development in Algiers? He's got a bill that would require a written report when any law enforcement officer uses force on a member of the public. Can you guarantee that that is going to reduce the amount of force used? There are no guarantees. The legislation, by the way, that passed yesterday in Jude, and we're going to continue to break it down further probably tomorrow, has the support of Commissioner Tim Temple. He's been on with us regularly talking about what he's looking to push forward this session. I tell you what, we're just out of time. I want to dive into this further, but if I give it any more time, I'm going to go over by a lot. So we got to get out of here. Moon Griffon's next. Hey, Facebook, can you dial up 104.5 in here to run through the board? We're going to see if we can do something here, y'all. Something big is happening with our sister station literally right now. Listen live, put it through the board to where they can hear it on Facebook Live. So before I get out of here, put me where I can hear me too, please. So before I get out of here, I wanted to listen in on this in real time. I mean, it's literally going on upstairs right now. So let's all play along together. Shall we?
WNXX Jackson.
There it is.
KNXX,
Top of the hour ID.
and WDGL.
We have exactly 1 minute of latency. Awesome.
This hour brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers. LA 21 12681. Offices in Baton Rouge.
I should be Alondra with a little update there, huh? Come on.
Good
Now.
morning. It's 9
Oh, it's
a.m.
Taylor
here on
with the
Wednesday, May 14th. Today in Baton Rouge, you can expect sunny skies with a high of 87. If you missed hours 1 or 2 of the show, you can catch it in the on-demand section at 1045ESPN.com. You can also follow us on Twitter or Instagram at OTB_ESPN and watch us on YouTube at the 1045 ESPN channel. Hour number 3 of Off the Bench, live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios, starts now.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert. Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
Yeah, they said I gotta come off the bench.
Now, here's Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
Yo, what's going on, y'all? Welcome in. Hour number 3 of OTB here on 1045 ESPN. And, well,
watch us get muted for their music.
This will likely be
all right. I need to shut
hour
up.
3 that you will remember, as there is some big news to get to, and it's felt like the show's been a little weird today, or maybe even weird as of late. If you've thought that, I don't think your instincts are totally off. I'll go ahead and just go out and say it here. This Friday will be my last show here on Off the Bench. I know it's all very sudden, but that is what is happened here. So I have been offered a job at Barstool Sports in the Chicago office, and I'm very grateful to Dave and Dan for the incredible opportunity. And I'm going to chase it, bringing my family up to Chicago. I mean, there's plenty of time to talk about that, but first, I want to talk about here and this team and what this place has meant to me. And I wrote about it in an article that'll be up on LouisianaSports.net here in a little bit. But it's really impossible for me to say what Louisiana's meant to me. But I want to start by talking about the people in these room, Jake, Alondra, Taylor, because I love you guys. And I truly believe, and I love all the...
Just wanted to be there for the announcement as well. If you want to tune in to 104.5, that will continue right now. But yeah, kind of big, you know, it's he's moving on. Hey, I'm just now seeing the headline. I hate to end on this note, but I'm just now seeing the headline about former Mayor Holden. We will have a lot on that on tomorrow's show. So we're going to get out of here. We will see you tomorrow morning, 6 a.m.